Talking about them anyway.
No, yeah. Hey, sup? Let me stop talking about all this sweet leaks that we went
Oh,
around.
of course.
We keep the good stuff to ourselves.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hi, everybody.
Our superstar translator.
Hi, everybody.
Hey guys.
No, you're right. This is the first time. Yeah, I almost didn't even see the invite message, but luckily I did, so we pulled this together quickly. And that's great. Nice.
That was good. Man, if we were able to do these live like so some channels do, it would be so much easier because we wouldn't be talking over each other. Very good.
I'm doing good. Just kind of spent last night actually for once playing Smash with some friends, which I haven't done like in person in a while. I play a lot of like Smash Online and stuff, but I haven't actually sat down and had the classic couch co-op in a while. But I actually went over a friend's house and we all pulled out our Switches. And for once, we played on in handheld mode, which I haven't played Smash Ultimate in handheld mode in a long time. But we ended up doing it that way just because it would be kind of hard to have everybody around the television. There was like a lot of people, but yeah, we did that. It was pretty fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Rivers is saying he can't hear you, Nanten. I can hear you, but I don't know. Is anyone else having that?
That was.
I can hear.
Yeah, no, it's just me. Whoops, that was embarrassing. Whoopsie.
That's kind of hilarious.
Especially because I'm the host. That was That was a big do
Yeah,
do from
NantenJex
my
was hosting.
side.
He was doing a great job, guys. If you're wondering, he was doing a great job introducing everybody.
It's stupid OBS. It wasn't playing the music when I started either, and I don't know why. It's decided it wanted to change all of my settings and not tell me about it. I'm glad. All right, well, whoops. Welcome. I guess I'll start that again. Welcome to the 29th episode of Good Morning Source Gaming. I guess all three people joining me have already introduced themselves and already jumped on. So, embarrassing, and I will take the L for that one. But, alright, so, apart from Smash, are you playing any other games at the moment?
Me?
Yeah, you, sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, my brother is a big fan of Time Splitters, and we heard a little while back that they might be making a Time Splitters 4, so we've been playing through Time Splitters 2, which we basically totally completed, and now we're moved on to Time Splitters 3. So that's like the one other game I've been playing besides Smash with some friends the other day, and just playing Banjo-Kazooie on all my free time, because I've been waiting for that for years, so.
Is it your first time playing through Banjo-Kazooie?
Oh no, I mean playing as Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh right,
in
and Smash Brothers. Right, I was gonna say. Yeah, no, I'm enjoying Banjo-Kazooie. I'm not sure if I prefer him or the hero. I kind of like the hero's really random nature, and
yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm not like a big Dragon Quest guy myself, but I was enjoying how Hero plays because of the random nature. There's so many moves to learn, and just all the matches are so unique. So Hero was really fun to play, but I've just been waiting for Banjo-Kazooie for years and years and years, so I jumped right on playing them as much as possible.
Oh yeah, same. Banjo-Kazooie have been like
How
such a big thing for me for the Nintendo 64.
Is now?
We'll get to stuff like that when we're talking about Smash Brothers. Let's not skip around. Instead, Spazzy, why don't you tell us how you're doing and what you've been playing?
I've been playing it real life, guys. I've got bills. I'm an adult, as always. Also, I've never actually beaten Doom 2016. I've liked it, but I got to, I guess, the 8th. I don't know if it's like a chapter or whatever they call those. I'm trying to remember. But yes, I started from scratch again, and I'm playing through because I want to finish it before Eternal comes out. So yeah, I've been doing that. Been playing a lot of Smash. It's funny because I played a lot in handheld mode. Even online, I played in handheld mode. I'm just used to it. Really dig that. And PapaGenos was saying how he finally played with friends in a long time. The thing about Smash Brothers Ultimate that I have to say is that every Smash is meant to be played with couch co-op, but Ultimate is so good at it. Like, there's so many modes and features that are amazing that you only play, like Squad Strike, and Smashdown, and Stage Morph. Like, it added all of these great local multiplayer features that I feel like a large part of the hardcore fan base never plays because they're always just playing online, or if they go, they play in person in kind of tournament type of settings. So it's kind of sad. But yeah, I've been playing that a lot. I do like. I think Banjo's pretty fun, and I'm not a big Banjo fan. I'm just not a series that I've ever really got into. I think Hero's a little bit more my style because he's just kind of crazy, and also I like Dragon Quest. So
yeah, and I really like Stage Morph and Smashdown. I think they're really good additions. It's kind of the default way me and my friends play it now, because like we always had it with Smash 4 that one friend who's only really good with one character but is really good with him, so just plays that character over and over again. It mitigates that. We're forced to play with characters that we're not usually used to playing with or against, and it also means every character gets used. Like I don't think anyone ever used Greninja or Palutena in my friend group in Smash 4, and now they have to. They got no choice.
Yeah, when I was playing with friends last night, we played with items on, which I don't play with items on generally when I play alone. I do play the 1v1 online, competitive style Smash generally. But we had items on. We did a little stage morph, and we had, the final Smashes come into play and stuff like that. And it's really fun. I enjoy that style of Smash. I've been playing Smash since Smash 64, and back then, me and my friends, it wasn't competitive at all. It was just a big free-for-all, with items and everything. So yeah, that was fun to do that again. So yeah, items and stuff. I need to bust into more of the other modes, honestly. So maybe I'll suggest we try some crazy stuff next time I'm with a bunch of friends.
Quad Strike, even if you're playing with a competitive mindset, Squad Strike is so good, dude. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Squad Strike's really good to do with
there's a lot of
friends as a
options
team
within
as
it.
well.
I dabbled in it like when the game first came out. We were just trying out like every single mode and everything that the game had. But yeah, I need to try it with friends again because I'm just so used to 1v1 type stuff.
So just play play a home run contest tournament. It's here now. Take advantage of it.
I think the crazy thing about Squad Strike though is like there's so many different ways to play. You can play like matching up each character, or you can play like King of Fighter style, where every time somebody loses, a new person comes in as a new stock. Like there's a lot going on. Like it's a pretty in-depth mode that I feel like doesn't get the support or I guess respect from the community, mostly because it's not online. Which it might be in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, with Sherry coming and the King of Fighters style, like you said, there's some potential there for sure.
I wish they would run more tournaments with Squad Strike.
Yeah, I wish they'd handled tournaments better in general. To be honest, so far with the game, but we'll just have to see. Maybe they can add an update or something later. After all, they didn't say Home Run was the definitive last thing they were going to do. So fingers crossed, because it just baffles me that we can't make our own tournaments online. Like that was something you could do in Smash for Wii U.
Yeah.
So how can you not do it?
Splatoon has always been very well regulated by Nintendo themselves. So I've always hoped that Smash could fall into like that style, a little more online tournaments and things like that. So hopefully something like that will maybe regularly start happening after this first year of Smash. I don't know. We'll see what Nintendo does.
No, hopefully. So, Kody, how are you doing today? What are you playing at the moment?
Well, I was playing the Dragon Quest 11 demo. I was trying to get a good amount of progress in it before I got very busy with any kind of school stuff because I'm also in college doing that kind of thing, the usual busyness that comes with that, and so that's what I was playing most recently as a standalone game. But of course, I've always been coming back to Smash all the time, and I've been playing a lot of Banjo too. I've been really enjoying Banjo because I noticed a lot of the projectiles that Banjo uses, like the eggs and the grenade. Or I don't, the rear egg, I think is what that move is called. I like those the bouncing physics they both have because I play DDD. That's my main. So they both kind of remind me of the Gordo's bouncing physics. So I've been able to do some fun stuff, sniping people off the ledge with the arc the egg has and everything like that. It's so much fun to use them.
I really like his damn beat egg. The grenade egg is really good. I think it's better than the regular egg.
Yeah, I think that's his best move.
Sets up for a lot of kills sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I've not been playing. I played Smash Brothers with Push when I was chilling with him and Liam from Q Games, and we had a few rounds of Smashdown, which I came second in both times. Take that, Push, in last place. But other than that, because I've obviously been on holiday the past 2 weeks, I haven't been playing a massive amount of stuff. I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, really, just continuing on with that still, my second playthrough of it, and just slowly scratching away at them supports to get everyone up, because like I'm a massive support whore, and that's pretty much all I ever do for Fire Emblem. But now that I'm back, I've actually started Deadly Premonition Origins because my friends really like it, and it's one of those cult classics, and the second one's coming out exclusively for Switch, and so I wanted to give it a try. And man, that is a goofy horror game. Like, I'm going to do a review of it, so I won't go into too many details, but that game is just bizarre. Like it has moments of somewhat. It has moments of, it's like a weird Twin Peaks-esque, you're an
I was about to
FBI
say, it's like-
agent who goes to a small American town to try and follow up on this murder that's happened.
It's like if if like a small independent gaming studio that didn't have a lot of experience in making 3D games was trying to make a Twin Peaks game and sell the license, and then they're like, "No, we're not going to let you make a Twin Peaks game." and so they're like, "Well, we got to do something with it." That's basically Deadly Premonition.
Yeah, nice.
But like, it's so goofy and not scary. Like, it has its moments. It has some moments that are genuinely quite frightening. Like I think any game where you're walking down a dark enclosed space and you start hearing a baby crying from a distance is always going to be really scary.
It's a little unsettling.
Yeah. But like, then you have moments where you're sitting there having a meal with an old lady and the background music is blaring so loudly with kazoo noises and whistling that you can't hear a word of what either of them are saying. And in the conversation, they can't hear what each other's saying, but they're saying it's because they're too far away. So they're having this broken conversation over really loud music and really weird sound effects. Like, you pick up at any item, and it makes this really, like, menacing dun noise. So, like, I pick up an egg off of a microwave and it goes dun. And I'm like, what game am I playing? You sit there driving a car and he has a monologue about how he really likes Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and starts talking about how once this is over, he's going to start watching Jaws, and he's like, oh, you know, because he has a split personality kind of. He just talks to his like imaginary friend Zach, who I think's meant to be the audience. But he has this whole thing where he starts talking about Jaws and how it terrified him, and then goes on a tangent about Back to the Future 2 and how it had a Jaws cameo. And how, like, he's just like, oh, in the movie it was Jaws 19, but, you know, there are only actually 4 Jaws movies. What a silly future.
I've got to watch your review when it comes out, because this sounds like a fun game.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. I just need to get one more thing done, and then I can start doing the review.
It's not a good game.
It doesn't...
but
I don't know. I'm enjoying myself.
It's not a good game, but it's a good experience.
Yeah,
it's a good
it doesn't
experience.
sound like a game you play for the gameplay, I guess. It definitely sounds like that one that you would play for the experience, yeah.
Yeah.
I thank Philosopher Stoned for the $5. How come we're 5, not 6, Sakurai smashes in, and Mike Jones from Star Tropics still isn't in. Little known fact, Sakurai hates Boundary Break. So as because of that, he personally he just won't put Mike Jones in.
Oh, unfortunate.
I think the real reason is, someone asked me this on Twitter, I think the other day, is that Star Tropics was designed very specifically for American audiences, and I'm not even sure if the first one released in Japan. Like, I don't think either of them have released in Japan.
It didn't.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
They may have later.
Maybe on the virtual console later. Yeah, maybe the first.
Yeah, I was
one.
saying they got a virtual console release in Japan, but it's kind of like, I guess, like Mother 3 almost over there, where they did not get it, you know. So.
Yeah. But because the game is made in Japan and it's going off of what Sakurai and his team have access to and what they know, none of them would have grown up playing Star Tropics unless they actually worked on the game, which I doubt any of them did. It was made by the same team who made Punch-Out, I think. So...
Yeah, and I think Punch-Out was already kind of like reaching to some extent, and I think that's why they sort of like have the wireframe Mac and stuff in Smash, because I think that was a little more in Japan. The arcade Punch-Out I think was bigger than the initial like Punch-Out for NES. Like, that was huge, you know, in the States.
Agreed.
No, actually, when I was in Japan, I saw it at Super Potato. If you've ever gone to Super Potato,
oh yeah,
awesome place. I saw a gold cartridge version of Punch-Out, which I think was the original released Punch-Out, which I think you had to win like a...
Yeah, you had to win a contest.
Yeah, it was like a golfing contest. I think I don't know if it was NES golf or an actual golfing contest, but it was something like that. And then you got a gold cartridge Punch-Out, and it doesn't have... I don't think it has Mike Tyson or Mr. Dream. I think it just ends at Super Macho Man.
Oh, wow.
And
so like a
I was
really
tempted to
original
buy it.
That must have cost a lot of money, though.
It was like pretty reasonable for what it was. I think it was like within like $100 to $200 range, but yeah, I didn't want to. I was already spending a lot of money in Japan, so I didn't splurge on that. But
I bet.
Yeah.
it was a cool thing to see. I
Super
have a
Macho Man
picture of it.
being
The final
Super Macho Man
boss.
being the final boss was made sense because at the time the newest Punch Out was Super Punch Out for the arcade, in which Super Macho Man was the last fighter.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I wonder if
kind of that, and then.
Sorry, go on, Spazzy. Go on.
Oh no, that was basically it, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering what you're wondering.
I was just wondering if Mike Tyson was in any of the Japanese versions of Punch Out. Now, was that something they specifically did for the Western release to help it sell over there?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Mike Tyson's Punch Out was actually. Hold on, wait 1 second.
Yeah. Because like Mr. Dream was only added as a Mike Tyson replacement, so that's why he's not in the original this gold cartridge. But
I bought a Super Famicom copy of Mike Tyson's Punch Out while I was in Japan. Not the gold cartridge. I got the Mike Tyson
just
one.
the regular one.
That one was 2,000 yen, so that's more reasonable.
More reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, and it does have Mike Tyson on the cover. I have it in my hand right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. So they did get that version of it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, now that we've done, let's get the introductions out of the way and go on to the first topic. I know I said I wanted this to be very Smash-centric, but I first wanted to talk about one piece of news that came out, just because I don't know when else I'll be able to talk about it, and that's Ring Fit Adventure, which is that new IP Nintendo announced this week. And everyone's been talking about how it looks really fun. There's a bodybuilding dragon in it, and some people, myself included, have been joking about how the main character could be like a Wii Fit Echo Fighter.
Oh boy!
In any future Smash game, and I just wanted to get people's opinions on it, because I mean, I actually was a big fan of Wii Fit when it came out. At least the first one. I never played the one on Wii U. And I played a bit of 2, but I kind of didn't have time anymore after that. But I've been hoping that Nintendo did another fitness type thing. And I think this one being like a weird RPG adventure game is kind of going to be a big motivator for a lot of people to get them into getting fit. But what are your guys' opinions on it, Spazzy?
I'm gonna miss a balance board. Like honestly, that was I feel like the most fun part about Wii Fit. Well, not the most fun part, but the most, I guess, useful part is even if you weren't going to do anything else with the Wii Fit, it was a great way to just kind of track your progress of weight loss and other things throughout the day. And plus, it was like a fun peripheral for other things. Like we talked about Punch Out. Like have you guys ever tried to play Punch Out with the nunchuck and a Wii remote and the balance board?
I think I've tried it once. Yeah.
I never tried the balance board with it. I forgot that was a thing. Yeah.
It's kind of insane.
I've tried Wiimotes, but I never tried the balance board with it. I don't even know if I knew you could do that. So that's cool.
You can. It's
proper boxing exercise.
Yeah.
It was hard enough with just 2 nunchucks, or the Wiimote and the nunchuck was like, it was hard to play that Punch Out. That Punch Out was difficult, so I just turned the Wiimote sideways and played it normal.
True gaming achievement is beating Donkey Kong with the balance board and Wii remote and nunchuck.
I don't know if that's possible.
You do that, and then you can just start doing professional boxing. You've got the skills.
The Joy-Cons have a much better accelerometer in them, and especially compared to the nunchuck. So if they were to do something like Punch Out again, it would be a lot more precise. So that would actually be something I wouldn't mind seeing. I actually bought, I said this before, I like the gamification of fitness because it gives you something to do and something to follow and stuff like that. I actually have the Switch Fit Boxing, which is pretty good. So I'm looking forward to this. It looks good. I hope that Wii Fit Trainer makes some sort of cameo or as an NPC or something in there. Like, keep it up. I think it's really funny that it's like, this monster is weak to squats. Let's do squats.
I feel him. I'm weak to squats as well.
All right. Before I go on, we got another $10 here from James Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on Reimu Agumon for Smash? It's not a big channer, but I feel like Agu is Pikachu. What Sonic, Mario, Hero, Link, Reimu is Reimu. How do you know how to pronounce it? I know that's the Toho person.
Reimu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reimu. Toho is a big deal all over the world. Reimu, whatever, man. I don't know. I just to me, it still feels like such a literal who, and I know people are gonna get it's so huge and stuff. It just I feel like in the West, it's got a very niche fan base.
Oh, it does. I mean, it's
And
like
just...
it's like Dragon Quest Hero to a kind of extreme, because Reimu is like everywhere in Japan. Like you go to any arcades, because way Toho sort of works is it's like in the public domain almost, I want to say. Like, it's generally the guy who made the Toho project doesn't make all the games. Instead, people can make whatever game they want with Toho stuff in it and release their own Toho games, like official Toho games, which is why you get so many of them across loads of different genres. And that's also why it's never really come out of Japan, because it's always been independent and always been closely circulated within. But in Japan, you go to like any arcade machine, right, and you see any rhythm game, and they've always got a section for what is basically all Toho project music. Like everywhere, like you see it in almost every arcade game. You see Reimu in loads of places, in game shops and all that, because anyone can kind of use her for anything. Like, if my understanding of it is correct, if people wanted to use Reimu for Smash, if Sakurai really wanted to, he might not even need to pay anyone. He might just be able to use her free of charge. Like,
I've always felt copyright laws in Japan are much looser. Like even beyond Toho stuff, it just seems that way. That there's a lot more like independent stuff with different characters that don't seem to cause a big fuss. That I just couldn't see happening in the West.
Like Doujinshi manga is really popular out there. Like, I went to a few stores that just had a whole floor dedicated to fan manga, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean,
right.
quite a large amount of it is usually porn or some kind of porn related.
Yeah.
But you also do get stuff like Dragon Ball AF, which is basically its own fan series. That is where the infamous Super Saiyan 10 and Super Saiyan 11 images come from.
There's some really cool ones out there.
Yeah. But like, and Toho kind of falls into that. It's a big indie thing that anyone can use. And I mean, I'd be okay. She's definitely really big, but because of that, that's the reason why Toho barely comes out of Japan and is barely known over here. But they are really good bullet hell shooters. At least the originals are. As for Agumon, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Agumon. I mean, yeah, Agumon versus Pikachu is kind of one of them. Link versus the Digimon game actually got delayed. The one that was meant to come out this year, it got delayed to next year.
Like the Terry Bogard of Pocket Monsters.
Yes,
I saw they re-released the Digimon, the like old Tamagotchi Digimon, like the original Digimon.
Oh, wow,
I
nice.
saw them re-released, like it was like the same box and everything. It was pretty cool. I almost picked it up, but it was like $30, and I was like, nah, I probably have this in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah, I think the new Digimon game is called Digimon Survive, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it comes out in 2020, yeah.
Those
it got delayed?
Yeah, it got delayed. My friend
Digimon
had
all
on his
fight
Fantasy
zombies?
Critic. It looks like it's a post-apocalyptic world Digimon game, but like, I mean, the Digimon World so Digimon World was like this weird Tamagotchi adventure RPG, and then all the other Digimon World games have been a weird cross of Mystery Dungeon and Dragon Quest style RPGs, I want to say. Like,
yeah.
It's you have your team of like 3 Digimon, almost like it's a triple battle from Pokemon or something like Yokai Watch, and then you fight other Digimon, and then you try and befriend them in the same way you would do in Mystery Dungeon games. And
that's right.
There are some really good ones, especially on the DS. The DS has some really good Digimon games. But yeah, no, it's still going. It's clearly not as big as it was back in the day. And for a long time, Agumon kind of dropped off because they wanted to focus on new Digimon. Unlike what people are going mad about with Pokemon now, Digimon's always been cycling in and out of its core cast of
like I said,
creatures.
It's the king of fighters, of
Pocket Monsters. Yeah. So like, I would
be like the main rival, and now people are like, who is that? Are they still making games? Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind Agumon. He's not my first go-to Namco Bandai character, I suppose. But if he got in, I totally would be fine with it. I totally understand.
I'd be fine with it, too.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting.
There was
Got
definitely
another-
there was definitely a rivalry between like Pikachu and Agumon. If you were in like late '90s, you know, Pokemon, Pokemania, the Digimon versus Pokemon thing was pretty big at that time. If you were around for that, I could see that being something people would want to see in Smash.
The trailer for that would be really great.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, I think they'd do it really well. I'd wonder if they'd get some way of having Agumon evolve into Greymon for something outside of the final Smash. Because Digimon can evolve and de-evolve.
Well, maybe in the moveset or something.
Could have been a gimmick.
Yeah, that could be something
Like
with a
a kind
gimmick.
of character. Most DLC has gimmicks. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
Banjo didn't.
Schnitzel from Chowder also says, PapaGenos finally here. What's hell's temperature? It's pretty cold, dude. Pretty cold. I think for organizational purposes, NantenJex, maybe tell me if you agree with this. Let's go over the schedule, and when people have super chats for Smash-related questions, we'll get to them after we finish the section we're on.
Yeah. Let's let's do that because I've already forgotten. We were talking about Ring Fit Adventure. That was it.
That's right.
Ring Fit.
Yeah, but I really like the look of Ring Fit Adventure. It's a cool RPG. I wonder how long it's going to be, and I wonder how good it will be as an exercise tool because I'm going to start getting back into gymming and stuff like that, and that might be a good way to track or do be more motivated to do stuff at home.
Yeah, I find it really interesting all of the different ways they managed to use the Joy-Cons, first with the Nintendo Labo and now with this, and especially the one part that really interested me was how the Joy-Con can actually measure your pulse.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I never even thought of that.
That's a callback to that stupid thing they had for the Wii.
The vitality sensor.
Vitality sensor.
That's right.
Oh man,
Yep.
they never forgot about it.
If they can
Put it
somehow,
All along.
yeah, if they could somehow implement the vitality sensor mechanics into other games, because that was meant to check your pulse and then make the game more difficult or decrease difficulty. If they could actually, if they could do that with the Joy-Con, that would be sick. That'd be so cool. It'd be a good way to do a survival horror. Do that with a new Eternal Darkness. I think that would fit really well with the heart rate.
Yeah, the game actually tries to kill you.
Yeah.
Over the top.
You mentioned because that game tries to make you distorted, like psychotic breakdowns. What if that bar is measured by your heart rate instead of being some in-game statistic?
That's the thing. We talked about the balance board before. You can see how the balance board would be implemented into other games. I have no idea how you're going to use that giant stupid ring in games that aren't Ring Fit Adventure.
Can't wait for the next Sonic game.
No clue. Oh my. Sonic measures your heart rate.
Let's talk about how it actually looks good, like graphically.
Visually, yeah, graphically,
and art style wise, it looks fun.
Yeah.
The art style kind of reminded me of ARMS.
Yeah.
The robot designs reminded me of them, at least.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to which team at Nintendo is working on this. Like,
Me too.
will it be whatever's their R&D team who actually worked and made the Switch? Is this a little project they were doing? Is this what they've got the team who made ARMS to now work on? Because ARMS came out. When did ARMS come out? Like 2 years ago?
Right when the Switch came out, right?
Yeah.
Right when I think.
Yeah, so like 2.5 years ago. So they've got to have something coming up because 2.5 to 3 years is the general time frame for making games for Nintendo, at least at the moment. So
this is legit. I wonder what they're working on.
Now that we have that leg strap, it might be time for legs.
Oh.
That's what the other ring can be used. It can actually go around your other leg. You can change the size of it.
After you've buffed yourself up and your leg is thick enough, then you can strap the ring around it.
Then you're ready for legs.
Yeah. I love it. So, does anyone have any more other opinions on Ring Fit Adventure? Otherwise, we'll move straight into the Smash stuff.
I'll just say this on it. I worked at a retro gaming store for a while, and we sold a lot of Wii Fit to non-traditional gamers, older people and stuff. Mm-hmm. Some people bought a Wii just to get Wii Fit, which surprised me. So I'm wondering, because this to me, this looks better than Wii Fit. This looks like a real game.
Yeah.
Not that Wii Fit wasn't a game. It was neat and stuff. I played it. But this really looks like something I might actually pick up just to see like what kind of game it is and stuff. I'm wondering if that's going to turn off the non-traditional gamers though, like that they're going to see it and see, oh, you're battling stuff. Like, I don't want to do that. That looks too much like a game. So I'm wondering if they're shooting themselves in the foot, making it better, basically. So I'm just curious. So it'll be fun to see how well this sells if this does become the next Wii Fit, because Wii Fit sold incredibly well for Nintendo.
Fun thing. I was there was a point of time where back on Gamer Connect for VG charts, people would always track hardware because that's what you do on a charting site. And there was a point in time where people were tracking the balance board next to the PS3 because the balance board was outselling it by a lot every week. Wow.
I remember that.
But I remember the PS3 was kind of a failure. It really because that console generation went on so long, it really picked up steam and started doing okay towards the end of the gen. But for like the first 5 years, it was not doing that well.
The weird thing with PS3 was that there was different versions of it, to the extent where it was like, I remember, because again, I was working at a retro game store for a while there, and people wanted like the one that was backwards compatible. But that one has like a better chance of breaking and stuff like that. So it was always weird to sell PS3s just because of all the different, like, do you want the one that opens at the top? Do you want the one that's backwards compatible? There was all these like options and stuff by the end of the life cycle of the PS3.
And a lot of
they did that with PSP, I think. Sorry, go on.
The Xbox 360 had a bunch of really good because I bought my Wii originally, and then I'm like, I'm gonna buy one of the other, like, the quote unquote HD systems at the time.
Right.
And I was looking at the Xbox 360. I'm like, they have such great exclusive titles, because they had Dead Rising, they had BioShock, and they had Mass Effect, and you could only get those games on Xbox 360. But by the end of the console generation, those were also on PS3. So like, like looking at it at the end, it doesn't really give you the picture of like what it was going at the beginning.
Yeah.
A big reason I went with Xbox 360 as well. I didn't get a PS3 till much later. I kind of did the same thing where I got the Wii because I always get the Nintendo console and then one of the other two HD consoles, like you put it. And one of my big reasons for getting the Xbox 360 was actually because of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I was like, I want to get the next Banjo-Kazooie game. And I wasn't mad at my purchase of the 360. My purchase of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, on the other hand, I might have been a little mad about that one.
Yeah, I'm a big Ninja Gaiden fan, and Ninja Gaiden 2 was also an exclusive, and that one totally panned out though. The game was excellent. There were a couple that didn't though. There were a couple. Oh yeah, the Fable games. Those are the ones where I'm all like, yeah, man, I'm gonna play some more Fables. And yeah, those were,
they got worse and worse.
Yeah, oh man, the first one was so like I think the anniversary for the first Fable was like a couple days ago. Like, do you guys remember like all of the Peter Molyneux hype for that game before it happened?
I know of it now in post, but for the first Fable, I didn't follow that one. It was the second one onwards I did though, and I remember some of the bullshit for that. I followed it for the first one. And yeah, it was all like your character like ages, in real time according to the time that goes through the game. And if you get a scar in a battle, you'll keep that scar. Just all of this bullshit that had nothing to do with that. Actually, yeah, you drop an acorn and watch it grow throughout the whole game. And I remember that.
I remember the gaming magazines before that came out. I didn't play the first Fable when it first came out, but I do remember the hype in the gaming magazines that was just describing stuff like that, and it made it sound like they put a real world into a game. How'd they do it? This sounds crazy. Like, but yeah. I could never live up to hype like that. It's like No Man's Sky was similar. It's like when something gets so hyped, it's like you have to be a little wary of how much a game is really capable of doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, anything Peter Molyneux's ever done has been that, though. So, like,
Right, so let's talk
Oh,
about.
man,
Shall we talk
good
about
times.
Smash
So what were we
Brothers
talking about?
then? Yeah, we're gonna move. We're gonna move on to
We already
Smash.
have, man.
Starting with the official Smash Brothers section now. Starting with the latest translation because I think that's a good segue into everything. And Kody, why don't you go through the translation with us as you were the one who did it?
Sure, yeah. So, this translation was basically about all of the DLC development. So, Sakurai starts out the column by talking about how Banjo-Kazooie are going to be out by the time the column is released, and then he goes into the development process. So he says essentially that since Nintendo is confident in Sakurai, that they do come to him to ask if their request is able to be made. So the quote he says is they ask him, "Do you know whether or not you could develop this character?" And he says, if it's unreasonable, he could potentially say no to them. He said, considering he said that, I think that probably means he hasn't denied a request yet, but that means he could. So that's interesting to know that he's not forced to make all these characters.
Yeah.
He does have a say in it. So then he goes into how the development team actually makes the DLC and how he helps with every step of the process, even though he's also overseeing all the other parts of the project.
The madman.
So it's
Sakurai is incredible.
He's one of a kind. He says that some of his favorite parts of developing the DLC were definitely moving forward with it initially after the base roster, and then also editing those. They were called something different in Japan, but here they were called Mr. Sakurai Presents. Those Hero and the Banjo videos that he did that were kind of like Let's Plays. He did the editing for those, so he said he really enjoyed that. I could see why. Those videos were pretty great.
I loved how I don't know if it was the cameraman or somebody else was like laughing in the Banjo one. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't think that happened in the Hero one, but in the Banjo one, it seemed so loose. It was so
I
funny.
think he just started to really run with it in the Banjo one. I want to see how the Terry one is going to be. That's probably going to be great.
Yeah.
The more they go on, the less budget they get, the less edits they make.
I love that.
By the end, it's just like Sakurai in an empty room with like a CRT TV and just like Smash hooked up to it. Like...
It doesn't never actually cuts to just direct gameplay. It's just always on Sakurai, and he's describing everything because they don't have the budget for this anymore.
Or you just have the cameras like just zooming in on an actual television screen.
Yeah. One of those old school Let's Plays.
Yeah.
Honestly, after Sakurai's done with Smash, he should look into doing that. I would totally watch that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, continuing with the translation, he says developing the DLC is also a lot easier than the base roster because initially during the base roster they had to go all out and put everything in the game as soon as possible because they had to get it done in time and everything. But the DLC is a lot smaller of a project, so he's able to oversee all of the jobs a lot more and have a lot bigger of a role in everything that's happening, and he says it's really great to be involved in that kind of process. And then he goes into how the number of DLC fighters has been increased basically with the addition of new fighters coming soon after the fighter pass. He talks about how during Smash Wii U and 3DS he thought about producing a growing Smash Bros. Game and having a game that would just keep on getting bigger. With an online system, he said he wanted to continue development over and over on a sequel in that kind of similar workspace because being online, it's a lot easier to modify the game and add things to it through downloadable content like that. And then he says, how long have I been working with this? The Smash Ultimate, that is. About 7 to 8 years, I think. That's a significant portion of my life. I that just kind of blew me away thinking about that. I didn't realize how long ago Smash Wii U and 3DS actually happened.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, it was weird to think the Wii U only came out like 7 years ago.
I know. So Ultimate has really been like a long development. It's been through so many different things. It's crazy. Anyways, he says after that he really enjoys doing this, though. There's a reason why it's a significant portion of his life, and he has such a diverse job, and that motivates him. And then he goes into how diverse it is. He starts off with saying all the different titles that he can work with are so amazing, and he's really detail oriented in those games. I'm sure a lot of people could tell that from the Banjo Sakurai Presents video, because he went into detail about everything in the
Created an
background.
entire game in the background.
Basically. That was really awesome. And so he thinks the job is suited to him because of that. He also goes into how he loves the variety of considering how each character in each game could be fit into Smash with its gameplay. And then also, finally, he goes into how Smash Ultimate's in such a good position when it comes to variety, because it has every veteran fighter and has so many collaborations in Spirits mode and its music, and it's like it's the ultimate collaborative title. So the game is really unprecedented. He says, of course, like you said before, if the Smash Bros. Series continues, there's no way that this is going to be represented the same way again. And still, with all of these costly achievements, all of these fighters and music and all the spirits he puts in the game, all of the requests just never stop. He says, when in a product like this with so many characters, people wonder what characters it doesn't have. It just has that effect. So he says, as long as there's an opportunity to make new fighters, I want to push the record further, and I want to please, as long as he can please someone with the addition of a new fighter, then he thinks it's best that he keeps working on the game. And then he says, I'm not thinking about the series' future right now. I'm just going to pour myself into what I'm doing now. There's still more coming.
Nice.
The next Smash Bros is not going to sell as well as the Smash Bros. It
No,
just
No way.
no
Not-
way,
not-
not
it's
at
just
all.
not.
Yeah,
They're gonna have to do something
it-
different. Like whatever the
Hmm.
next one is, it's just gonna have to be different because it can't match Ultimate. It's not gonna surpass it.
Oh.
It's just gonna have to be different in some way. I can't foresee
It's
what
going
that
to
is.
be a
but-
reboot.
yeah,
Yeah, some sort of
It
reboot.
has to reboot.
It
feel-
really has to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
New director, new vision, reboot everything. That's what I feel like they should do. Because if they pitch the next Smash Brothers not as a successor but as a reboot,
new
as a sort of new
reboot.
line of games,
Yeah.
I think it will do better. Like if they can have if they can have Ultimate coexist with this other line of Smash games, then I think that would work out.
Yeah.
I think the end of this.
It'll have to be. I mean, it'll still be a platform fighter. But
Yeah.
I think some of the mechanics will change, and I think a lot of the veterans' move sets will be completely redone. Like
Mhm.
it'll have to be like a ground up sort of thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they will drop a lot of characters too.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of characters like, I hate to say it, Lucas are gonna get Lucas, Corrin, those characters that are just kind of like nobody really knows about them
Yeah.
because they have niche fan bases.
Jigglypuff. It's gonna be gone.
Jigglypuff, yeah.
Yeah. Really, again, if you reboot Smash, you could justify
Really.
getting rid of Jigglypuff. It's hard
Yeah.
to, now just because it's an original 12 character. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Even like I hate to say this, but like Captain Falcon and Ness, like they're not relevant anymore. Really, it's hard
Yeah.
to say that, but thinking about it as a reboot, I don't know if I could really see them in a brand
I
new
don't know.
series.
I feel like
I feel like at
Even-
least
even as a
Falcon is
reboot-
safe. At least
Maybe.
he's more of a Smash
Yeah,
character at
but
this point than
he
he
is
is.
at this
Smash
point.
character.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
say
so-
I've had basically this conversation before this announcement that we're getting more DLC, that Sakurai wants to continue, to support Smash Ultimate, and it was always a pretty depressing conversation because
It is.
I felt like I was looking at the end of Ultimate at the end of the Fighters Pass, and then it was like, okay, well after that, if there's a character I still want or something I would like them to do with Smash, I'm gonna have to wait for the next one, and it's going to, it's not gonna live up to this one, or there's gonna have to be cuts or something. And I'm really happy that Sakurai seems to have be on board with this, recognize the same thing I think we all did, and is realizing like, you know what, it would be better if I just support Ultimate for as long as possible. Because honestly, I'm more excited about a new character coming out for Ultimate than I probably will be about whatever the next Smash game is. So keep this on.
At the end of the day, it's I remember, we talked about the Anvil earlier. I had a conversation with them where I'm like, the thing is that if the next Smash game is basically the same type of Smash but cut 40 characters and add 20, like, yeah, people really want Dixie Kong, but if you get Dixie Kong and they cut King K. Rool, then no, right?
Yeah.
People want stuff in addition, not
Exactly. But here's what they do:
not as a replacement, and that's
never any new Smash game. Just when the Switch ends, Ultimate gets ported to the Switch 2, and DLC just continues for that, and it goes forever.
I hope so.
If the copyright allows it, if you can somehow, hopefully all the contracts stay in place to be able to, make a Smash Ultimate Deluxe on whatever the next thing is, that is the way to go.
That is the way to go.
Everyone is here with an asterisk. Cloud is not included in everyone.
I feel like...
I honestly think Square would be cool with bringing Cloud back. I think they just really wanted him to be DLC. That's my...
I do too,
That's my guess, is that I think Square was probably fine with Cloud coming back for Ultimate. I think Square just wanted to directly make money off of the sales. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why Hero...
Yeah, exactly.
And why we could potentially see more... if Square are that open about it, it means that Square IP... are probably more open to be in for DLC. They're probably all for it, which is good because it means
Gex for DLC.
Yes, baby, the obvious next Square Enix rep. But what is it? There are so many big IPs I always think about, and so many characters I always think about always end up kind of actually being Square Enix ones. Everyone wants Sora, people want Geno still, people want Tomb Raider Lara Croft, I want Gex, and I'm going to make everyone want it with me.
We will get Gex.
Bob from Puzzle Bobble.
Yeah.
It's people want Bravely Default characters, that's
so
also
many
Square.
Characters.
Yeah. They've just got a lot.
I've been seeing 2B go around a lot.
Oh yeah, 2B, that's the other one. I knew
Mm-hmm.
there was one I was slipping my mind. 2B,
I think 2B would actually be a pretty cool character. Yeah.
I just wonder how far the character count will go at this point.
Will we actually hit 100 characters? That seems to be my question. Is it just going to be another Fighting Pass worth of characters, or is this going to be years of Ultimate characters? Because we're honestly...
Sounds like Sakurai wants
I do think so.
keep doing it. So.
Yeah.
I think as long...
I don't want to
As long as we keep paying for DLC, so no matter what they make, we have to buy it. In hopes that they'll eventually add ones we want.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to overhype myself or anyone else, but we are close enough to 100 characters. It could happen. Maybe something to shoot for.
I think we'll hit 90.
I think we're gonna hit 90.
Yeah.
I think that there is going to be another Fighters Pass, and I think they are going to announce it at a later time. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, we can get to that very shortly. I just wanted to say, based still on this translation, that I think the ending part is definitely the most interesting part of it to me, because it sounds like as long as Nintendo's still willing to fund it, Sakurai and his team are still willing to make it. I mean, it might not just be Nintendo. Remember, this team is still Bandai Namco, so as long as Bandai Namco are also still willing to accept the money and let this team sit out, we could see Smash as a platform and just last the entire Switch life cycle. Sakurai seems on board.
People keep buying the characters.
I mean,
that's the thing. As long as it keeps selling, then they'll keep making it.
Yeah, Nintendo will keep funding it. Yeah.
I think it will. I mean, it has to be selling an obscene amount now. There's no way they would turn down that opportunity.
Sam's costume must have broken records.
I know.
All the time online.
That in and of itself is probably going to inspire many other Mii costumes and music packs, which is really exciting, actually.
Yeah. Shovel Knight with Strike the Earth. I would be so happy.
Yeah.
So great.
It's so weird. I really want to know, because if it does keep going on, I wonder what they will do about assist trophies and stuff that's already represented. Because this is the other thing, I guess, which we can talk about in a minute when we sort of give our thoughts on what DLC we might expect. It sounds a lot like, from what Sakurai's saying, And what the president of Nintendo also said in his recent little quote, that they want to focus on new series and stuff that isn't in Smash, which of course Sakurai is an assist trophy, or not Sakurai, Shovel Knight is an assist trophy already. And so like it makes me feel like we won't get anything Shovel Knight related. But if they keep doing DLC, I feel like they got to tackle the fan requests alongside the new series.
From Fortnite as an assist trophy.
I'm curious about that too, because Sakurai, he said quite a few things about like wanting to satisfy the fans, which makes me think he's going to go for fan requested characters. But a lot of the fan requested characters are, if not assist trophies, at least spirits. There's quite a few spirit characters that I know a lot of people really want. But he also talked about bringing in new game worlds. So I don't know if that means
the actual quote
or what.
Kody can tell you the actual translation that Nintendo of America used isn't really 100% accurate, but it is the official translation, so there might be some to it. But what was
I think go for it.
No, I was just going to say like the word the word that Sakurai used was basically, it could be interpreted either way. Like it could be interpreted as brand new series, or it could be interpreted as just new characters that represent things that aren't in Smash. So it could be new first-party characters that just aren't in the game yet. Say Rhythm Heaven. Rhythm Heaven doesn't really have a presence in Smash.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because I remember Reggie at the Game Awards said something kind of similar, where it was like vague enough. It could.
Yeah, it essentially is that vague.
Yeah, it's like it could mean new games, but it could also just mean it's a new character.
It's whatever the fans want is probably what
I think it's going to be. I think Sakurai personally would like to introduce as many new series as possible, but I can't see them not. I mean, it's Nintendo picking. I think Nintendo. Well, because this is where the Nintendo president. Well, he gets the veto on it, but this is where the Nintendo president's quote comes in, because he talked about how Smash is really good at promoting other games and forming bonds with companies and stuff, and like how, so for example, Fire Emblem wouldn't really be as big as it is today if it wasn't for the fact that Marth and Roy were in Smash Brothers. Like even if they had brought it over like originally planned because of how well Advance Wars did, I think a lot of people bought Fire Emblem because they knew about it through Smash, and I think there's loads of series out there. I think Bayonetta 1 and 2 ports probably did better on Switch, not just because it's the Switch, but because Bayonetta being added to Smash got her in more people's focus and got more people interested in the series. And if they can do that with third-party series, that like creates bonds with those companies and makes them more likely to support the Switch and release their games for it. And it's not a guarantee. Like it's never a guarantee. If just because Terry's coming doesn't mean we're getting King of Fighters 15. But it probably does help with relationships and may very well be a motivator for SNK to port it over.
Yeah, definitely.
And SNK actually, all of those SNK Neo Geo games that were being sold individually on the eShop were top sellers on the eShop for like months after their release. So like there is a lot of SNK content actually on the Switch right now.
There is.
Might have something to do with it.
I wonder if a lot of the picks have to do with a lot of the stuff that came out on the Switch initially, or announced to be on the Switch initially. Say Shin Megami Tensei was announced initially at the very first conference. Of course, it never came up again, but then Joker came out as an Atlas character, and then there was also all of those Neo Geo games that were on the Switch very early on in the eShop.
There are 3 companies actually that and we can talk about that I guess when we talk about
like Kody finishes train of thought first.
There was also the Microsoft games that came out they were co-developed by Microsoft, I guess, like Cuphead and the other, what was it, Ori
and the Blind Forest, and Super Lucky's Tale as well.
Yeah, so I feel like that can't just be a coincidence. I feel like they probably worked out some kind of deal beforehand.
Well, I think, I mean, maybe. I think Banjo is a good example of Nintendo actually listening to fans, because Nintendo, like, you have K. Rool, who was obviously chosen specifically because of the ballot, and that's also apparently why Simon was chosen. And like, Nintendo knows what the ballot results are, and if I know that I can't remember which fan site it was, DK Vine maybe, apparently heard behind the scenes that Nintendo were really surprised at how popular K. Rool was, because they had kind of written him off as a retro character that no one really know, only old school fans know. And so, like, Nintendo clearly know about stuff, and I reckon that's a big reason why Banjo was chosen. It's going to be a mixture of supporting companies, but it's also going to be, you know, picking characters that fans actually want to see. Like, that's going to be really important.
I'm just saying, like, I think both of those deals, like the games getting on the consoles and the character getting into Smash, probably happened at around the same time. They probably negotiated for Banjo and also got those games on the Switch. I don't know. Maybe looking at some of the games that have been coming out on the Switch will give us some, I don't know, maybe some reason for other characters.
Looking at companies that have recently and historically had good relationships with Nintendo, I think is something to look into.
Yeah, I do.
Which I said, I'll talk about
I'm wondering, just because so we have this Fighters Pass, and I'm just wondering when they decided to do further DLC. Was it something they knew initially when they put out the base game? They're like, we'll put out a Fighters Pass, but we know we're going to do characters after that. Or was it something they've decided since the sales have been good, or since Sakurai maybe requested, hey, I want to keep working on this? I'm just wondering when that happened, because like you're saying, in the early days of the Switch, there were signs of these companies, SNK in particular, being supported, and that may have to do with like the deal with Terry and stuff. It may have all happened around that time frame. So I'm wondering when the time frame for further characters will be. Will it have been in this last year, or will it have been actually before the base game came? I just we don't know.
I think my theory for this, because I've had this conversation really recently with someone, is that it happened after Joker came out, but before E3. Like, I think
I could see that. Yeah,
because I think when Joker actually got a date, that's probably when a lot of people actually bought the Fighters Pass. I know that's when I got the Fighters Pass. I waited until Joker was about to come out to get it, like the last possible moment. And they probably saw how well the sales were of this, that they were like, okay, Fighter Pass, because when you buy a Fighter Pass, you're obviously paying for all 5 DLC at once. So you're not making any more you're not making any more payments. So they probably had such massive spike in Fighter Pass sales at that point that they were like, oh wow, we've made so much that we'd be foolish not to make more after this. Yeah, and so that's probably when.
Yeah. And to know that the Fighters Pass, like if you just bought the Fighters Pass blindly with 5 characters, and if those sales were so good, Nintendo knows it doesn't even matter what character we put out. If we put out a character, it's gonna sell. Like, if they have that statistical financial information. And on that note too, I'll say this. I'm just gonna plug Nintendo for themselves right here. If you want a character and like they're not out yet, like say you're like, maybe you're not really into Terry, maybe you're not into Fatal Fury or whatever. Like, if you have the money and you want to support Smash, go buy them, because that might be the thing gatekeeping if we're going to get more characters, is how well these sell. So I would suggest continue to buy characters, even if you're not that into them, in hopes that, whatever character you are into, or if you just want the DLC to continue, that might be the only thing stopping Sakurai someday, is when it stops selling. So
I think that's 100%. Once it stops selling, Nintendo and Bandai won't want to fund it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Sakurai will be forced to stop.
Always want to.
Yeah. From Sakurai's quote, sounds like he is on board as long as he can. And I think the only thing that's going to stop him is if it's a financial barrier. So
yeah.
I think there's 2 things that are interesting to look at in regards to when this DLC started, or the push for extra DLC. Number one, remember when this game first launched, there were 30 additional character slots that were data mined.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was built with the idea that maybe we'll do DLC. I don't think it was decided, obviously, to do more than the first pass. I think it was, let's wait and see how the first pass does. But
future-proof, yeah.
Let's set this game up in a way that, we can do it. So it was always in the back. Yeah. The other thing is that Smash for Wii U sold way less than Mario Kart, way less than a lot of games. It sold well, but it didn't sell, like exceptionally well. I think it topped off at around 4 to 5 million, somewhere around that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But it did have the highest selling DLC out of any game. So the DLC for that game had a really high attach rate. So Nintendo knew that people wanted to buy Smash DLC.
Yeah, and then this Smash has been, this Smash Ultimate has been like one of the most best-selling, successful Switch games out now. I think.
It is the best-selling fighting game of all time on a single platform.
But I mean like Switch, because I'm still wondering if Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey has sold more than Smash Ultimate. I haven't checked in a while
At
what
this
sales
point,
were.
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen in a while. I will say Smash definitely has like people will continue to buy Smash down the line, whereas some people maybe won't buy a one-player, adventure game as much, and also just on I lost my train of thought here. What was I going to say? So also just there's the sales of Smash and there's the sales of Smash DLC, and we talked a little bit about how it's good for promoting other things.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard so many people wanting to buy Dragon Quest XI on Switch, and that's going to be a Switch game sale for Nintendo, and that is probably because of Hero being DLC. And I don't think that game it would have done nearly as good as I'm anticipating it's probably going to do if
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Nintendo can see that just the promotional aspect, the advertising, like if you have some of your finances that go into marketing, put it into a Smash character instead. If you're just going to put a bunch of commercials on television, no. Put that money into making a character for Smash and announce them at E3. That's how you get marketing. Like,
yeah, I think they realize that, and I think other companies are also realizing that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that Square Enix funds one of the DLCs because they really want to push whatever game they've got coming up?
Yeah, like Kingdom Hearts 4 gets announced or something like that. We just put Sora in Smash.
Yeah.
Announce it at E3 just because we want the hype. Like
the top 5. I looked it up real quick. According to Nintendo's financials, last time they released that was in June of 2019.
Okay.
Top 5 selling Switch games. Number 5 is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee at 10.98 million.
Wow.
Number 4 is Breath of the Wild at 13.61 million. Number 3 is Smash Brothers Ultimate at 14.73. 2 is Super Mario Odyssey at 14.94, which means there's like a very small difference, so I think it's going to pass Odyssey. Number 1, though, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a straight-up port of Mario Kart at almost 18 million copies.
That's only Mario Kart I don't have as well. Jeez. Actually, I've been looking at the chat, and Corlin seems to think. I've been looking in the chat, and Corlin seems to think that Smash Brothers has passed Mario Odyssey now, since June. But I don't know. I don't know where he's looked it up. But yeah, according to him, Smash Ultimate is now second, just behind Mario Kart, which is miles ahead.
I mean, Mario Kart is like it's so hard to beat. I worked at, like I said, I brought it up like so many times, but I worked at a retro game store for a while, and I sold to non-traditional gamers, little kids, older people. Mario Kart just sells. Like you can't compete with it. People who barely play video games will buy Mario Kart for the system they just got, because it's easy to play, and and they recognize the Mario, IP and everything.
So what this means is we need a Mario Kart in Smash, like specifically. This is how Toad gets in. He comes in cart.
I was gonna say, but Bowser Jr. kind of has the Mario Kart, like side B for the
that is true. Car. That's true.
Yeah.
So let's talk. As we've been kind of messing around and talking about it already, but we know there's obviously one more fighter left in the Fighters Pass, and then we have all this additional DLC, an unspecified amount of DLC. We don't even know if it's going to be a season pass or not. And I want to get everyone's opinions on what they think that could be. But before that, let's talk about that last character slot for the season pass, because I'm curious what people think they might end it on, because ending the DLC, at least this first pass, is obviously a big deal. And when they obviously planned this out, they didn't know they were going to. I would assume they didn't know they were going to be doing more. So they probably want it to be climactic. Like in Smash 4, it was Bayonetta, and that's because Bayonetta was the ballot winner. so it made sense to end it on the character that everyone voted in to win. But
Corrin.
for well, no, Corrin was the penultimate one. So I'm
Bayonetta
curious.
Was what number 2 in Europe or something? They said, I think.
Yeah,
Or
I
number 1
think
in
they
Europe,
said.
maybe?
Yeah, I think they said number 1 in Europe, 2 in the US, and then they didn't give one for Japan.
Yeah. Something like that.
But yes, so I'm curious what people think for the last one. I'll go first for this because I've been saying it for a while. I think Doom Guy is going to be the last one, and it's going back to what Kody was saying before. If you look at like early Switch support and stuff, Bethesda's been a massive early supporter of Nintendo. And while a lot of people would say Elder Scrolls Dover King, I think he kind of clashes a bit too much with the hero. But on top of that, I think Doom probably did better on the Switch than Elder Scrolls did. I think the Doom 2016 port was like a massive success for them. And to the point that Doom Eternal is now coming out same day as everyone else on the Switch. And the Switch also now has Dooms 1 through 3 plus 64. Like, it's becoming a big Doom machine for Bethesda. Whereas Elder Scrolls has what, like Skyrim and Blades. I think if Blades is even out. And Doom Guy also, like, he represents something completely different. He's a first person shooter character, he's a space marine. Yep. Like, some people might argue it's very violent, it's like an R-rated or 18 plus game. And I mean, they can tone that down. Like, they don't need Mario bursting into blood with a punch from the Doom Guy.
Yeah. So they've already gone to some mature games and toned them down for Smash. I don't think it would be an issue with Doom Guy.
Yeah,
so,
I think Doom is just so, like, it's almost more inherently violent than like something like Metal Gear or like Bayonetta. Like, Bayonetta has some violence, is a violent game, but like the violence isn't inherent in the character. Guy rips and tears, like that's what he does. Like, do you know what I'm saying? That and also the stage would be hell. So like there is a difference.
I mean, it doesn't have to be. You can make the stage Mars.
I mean,
I'll put it this way. I think if somebody had told me, like, I remember before the Smash 4 DLC when Bayonetta was being talked about, my argument against her was just I think she's too sexualized, and I just don't think you could represent her in Smash, and they did it. So I feel like Doom Guy's kind of the same way. I would kind of agree that, like, oh yeah, he's just too inherently violent, but I don't know. I think they could tone it down.
Yeah, and I think Doom would be a good one to end on as well, because Doom's quite a hype series. It's quite a significant series. Like, I feel like it would have to... Yeah, it has proper history. So I feel like it would... The only other one from this whole Fighters Pass that I think they could have ended on for hype would have been Banjo-Kazooie, because he's such a requested character.
Yeah.
But if they could have it... Doom Eternal's also going to be coming out in November, and they could also... And I reckon, judging by how they've been announcing them, Terry comes out in November, Doom Eternal comes out in November. There may very well be another Nintendo Direct in November. So Doom Guy could be announced in November, right before or right after Doom Eternal comes out. If it's right before, that's going to drive up sales for Doom Eternal, because people are going to be jumping on it because of this announcement.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I just think it's all timed out very well to be Doom Guy. That's my prediction. That's what I've been saying since last year. I feel like Doom Guy is the last one.
I agree. Yeah, I agree because...
let Kody go first.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
Yeah, sure, go.
I agree because of the...
Well,
I agree because of the other theory that I was talking about. You just pretty much said what I was thinking too. Like, ever since the beginning of the Switch, Skyrim was the thing that being advertised in that very first commercial, and I think that is just that lends a lot of evidence to a Bethesda character, even if it's not Doom Guy. I do think it is just because of the support Bethesda is giving to the Switch, and I feel like that's a very iconic character with a lot of history, like you said. I think it will be Doom Guy because of all that.
Now you can go, Spazzy.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying that the thing about Doom Guy too is that it's not a very hype choice for Japan. So we're talking about how unexpected and hype it would be, but like, would would it be in Japan, which is one of the major reasons? Would that be a good final choice? Don't you want something that appeals to more of a worldwide audience?
Well, Bayonetta. Well, I mean, I guess Bayonetta
was #1 in Europe and #3 in America, and is a Japanese
series. True. Yeah.
So yeah, like that's my thing. Is that I don't know how easy he would be to translate, because I think there's just some aspects of him. And the other thing is, if you're gonna, I think you can get away with it more for DLC. But if you're gonna buy this game for kids and then kids see Doom Guy, it's like a weird thing. Like, oh, I want to go play the game with this guy with realistic weapons and stuff.
I don't know how concerned they are about it, because again, Bayonetta for that one.
Do you think that there's a bit of a difference? Yeah, between the two. I think Doom Guy's pretty likely as the last choice, though.
It's going to be your choice as well, anyway.
yeah, probably. I'm saying that we're talking about characters that had or companies that had a big relationship with Nintendo, and I think the three that stand out to me right now are. There's always a chance we could get another Namco rep too. I mean, Namco's making the game. It's just I don't see anybody that really fits in, because they're we're not going to have another JRPG protagonist to finish this off. 3 out of 5 is a bit much.
I'll
so
go
I don't see a
on.
Tales of character. Yeah,
he's Namco. It's Bandai Namco.
Yeah, there we go. Done. Boom. Yeah, and then I don't know. There's always a weird thing between Tekken. I think you'd get Tekken over Soul Calibur, and there's always the thing of, well, I don't know. I feel that spirits and maybe even assist trophies don't deconfirm past the first pass, for pass 2.
Yeah.
Because they weren't planned yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like
right. That's where I'm at with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I do feel like spirits and assist trophies do kind of disconfirm for the first pass, because they were already planning this pass when they were doing World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like if we didn't get past this pass, it would be like, well, at least we got them in the game in some form, because Sakurai does care about just that aspect. So
yeah, the representation.
Bomberman and Shovel Knight probably both did really well on the ballot. That's probably why they
that's probably why they got this assist. Yeah.
So all that being said, and also you can maybe another Capcom character, because there's some big ones like Dante would actually be hype everywhere. Dante would be.
That's true.
Just a really big reveal that they would end on, that it would be like, holy shit, it's Dante. They're bringing the Devil May Cry games there. So I do feel like Dante or a Resident Evil character are from these big series that have a lot of representation. Both have stuff on Nintendo consoles. Capcom and Nintendo obviously have a wonderful relationship, and they're actually big enough worldwide to be the characters. So I'm kind of actually leaning, more towards that than towards Doom Guy. But the three companies that don't have playable reps that I feel like have had interesting relationships with Nintendo, especially recently, are Tecmo Koei, Ubisoft, and Bethesda. And I agree that Dovahkiin, here's the thing, I like Skyrim, but it's such a customizable game, and there's so many ways to play.
Yeah.
That there's no way you could
power rep could get in.
It's kind of like the Steve versus Banjo thing. It's not that I don't like Minecraft. It's just that Steve doesn't feel like much of a character to me. I feel the same way with Dovahkiin. It doesn't feel like much of a character.
A tall elf lady or a short lizard man.
Give him 8 different costumes for a bunch of races. It'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool, yeah. Just give him the Viking helmet.
Yeah.
Exactly. It'd be so hard to make a version of the Dovahkiin that feels like the character you played as, because you can play him as a mage or an archer. Right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't represent your experience.
Exactly. I feel like Doom Guy is from an iconic series. Literally, he's had so many different playable Nintendo series or games on Nintendo hardware. He has an iconic look. It's Doom Guy. And that's another thing. He's an actual character. He would have a really cool moveset. I want a first-person shooter rep. I'm Doom Guy's a top 5 want for me. So I'd like to see him, and I think with extended DLC, he might make it in. But just because if we're going for worldwide kind of appeal, I do feel like one of those Capcom characters makes the most sense. Out of the other two companies, the thing about Ubisoft is that I don't see a rabbit getting in.
Yeah, no.
Rayman was
What
already
if
a
they
spirit.
ended
So
off
in my
on
mind,
that?
yeah. So Rayman being a spirit kind of disconfirms him for pass one in my eyes. He could maybe get in, and then that leaves you basically with like some niche stuff. You're like, oh, Jade from Beyond Good and Evil or the Prince of Persia, which no, like they'd be cool. I'd
No.
love them, but no.
The
And then an
assassin.
Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
character. Yeah, that's which actually makes so much sense. Do you know that until recently, I think it might still be the case, that Assassin's Creed has sold more copies than Legend of Zelda. It's
Wow.
a huge series.
Mm.
Yeah, like huge. It's one of the only giant series that's not in Smash. Like it's a top 20 of all time selling like IP. And it's very recognizable. So that like I could totally see
Yeah.
a character from Assassin's Creed getting in.
No,
maybe
like
even the assassin and make it different.
You could make it. It'd either be, I think, it'd either be Altair,
then,
Ezio, or just the assassin, quote unquote,
with different costumes,
Yeah.
and different eras. That'd probably be the best way
Like-
if Sakurai is willing to keep doing these characters with multiple costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Assassin's Creed has a
And
movie.
the
Does
third
Rayman have a movie? No. Checkmate, Rayman.
they have an anime from the people that are doing not an anime. I guess they keep call Netflix calls them animes, but from what's his face that's doing Castlevania. And
Yeah.
Devil May Cry,
There's an
they're also
Assassin's
doing
Creed
Assassin's
series
Creed.
coming out. Yeah. I think if I had to have an assassin, I think I'd rather have Ezio because she has a personality. I think a generic assassin might be a bit dull.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind
Altair.
Altair. I wouldn't mind
probably
Altair,
too.
but I don't know
Yeah.
Ezio. I feel like it'd be funner. It'd be a bit more. It'd be a bit less serious, and I think that would work really well in Smash.
Ezio is also, I feel like, the one that most people who played Assassin's Creed, like that's
Yeah.
the character they played as. Or,
He's
or
everyone's
introduced to the
favourite.
series or whatever.
Yeah, because I think Assassin's Creed 2 was the one
The
that
last-
really kicked it off and got people super into the series.
Yeah. And Ezio was in other like Brotherhood. You're Ezio again, right? And Revelations. And there was like a few where you're Ezio. So
Galaxy Brain mode.
I can
Add
see them-
Desmond. He's
or
everyone.
I
Desmond.
can see them doing a couple assassins on one slot, like Bowser Jr. style. So like it wouldn't just be like hero, like they would actually have their names.
Yeah.
But like their personalities are close enough that because you probably even could have put like a bunch of Belmonts in one slot. I get why they didn't, and I'm glad they didn't because there's a distinct personality difference between Simon and Trevor and
Richter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because they come from like just me being a Castlevania nerd from like different parts of the Belmont timeline. Like Trevor comes from a place where like the family was disposed and like exiled and all of this, so he's got like a chip on his shoulder and he's kind of like an angry dude. And Simon comes from a place where like they're this kind of like super holy warrior like mindset where like this is our duty and this, and then Richter comes from a place where he's like, oh, like we're like kind of this respected like Romanian like family, like we're aristocrats. So he's like really like kind of confident and more like fun loving and stuff like that. Like so they wanted to show that. That's fine. But anyway, so the last company, just real quick, is Tecmo Koei. And I think like they have to get a Smash DLC character, and Ryu Hayabusa makes the most sense to me because that's more of their mascot. Because it's like they just helped on the Fire Emblem game. Can you name another third party that's made a Pokemon game, a Zelda game, a Metroid game, and two Fire Emblem games? Because they did Fire Emblem Warriors, and they did a lot of.
They did all of
lifting.
Three Houses basically. Like
Three Houses,
Intelligent Systems had like 15 people working on Three Houses, and everything else was done by Tecmo Koei.
They did the same thing with Other M, which I know people are like Other M, but Other M didn't play bad. It was just the story, which they had nothing to do with. Where it fell apart. But that was another time where Nintendo's like, we don't really have the expertise to bring the series into 3D in the way that we're like envisioning it as an action game. Who are we going to get to help? Oh, Team Ninja and Tecmo Koei. And the same thing with and then they did Pokemon Conquest on the DS, which was awesome. They've done Hyrule Warriors. So they co-own an IP with Nintendo and Fatal Frame. Like they actually have like, so they're so who are already in the game. They're so close to Nintendo that they're going to get a Smash rep, especially, and if DLC goes on long enough, it will. I just don't know. Like I feel like Ryu Hayabusa would have been a great number 4, like in Terry's
He would
spot.
have been a great number 4.
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
My problem
I just
with
don't know if he's number 5.
Yeah.
Hayabusa, at least, like you were talking about how does it please like the West and the East? Does it like please everybody? I do think he fits that. Like I think enough people like Ninja Gaiden, like all over the world, but I don't know if he has that impact.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's a little bit of both. It's like pleasing everybody,
Yeah.
but also having like strong impact to end the Fighter's Pass. So that's where I'm at with Ryu. It might be, but yeah, I'm struggling.
I think my issue with Ryu is I feel like he's just a generic ninja. I mean, he is the generic ninja in the way that the hero is the generic RPG hero. But I don't know. I feel like I guess I can't really complain when Hero's in it, but at least they gave him a funky gimmick with the thingy. I'm trying to think what they could do with Ryu that would make him stand out from like
he's gonna get shadow clones, and it's gonna be awesome. Like they have to, like the shadow clones in the 2D games were like a big part. Like, oh, I'm gonna make an extra Ryu and like send him out to fight and stuff. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. It's rarely pointed out, but there isn't a like katana user in Smash. Like nobody wants more sword users, but there really isn't anybody who uses the katana. So Ryu would at least have that.
See, I'm holding my hopes out that would be Takamaru one day. That would be his stepping. That would be his niche to get in. He needs to be the first samurai character.
Yeah.
So,
like
every other katana user.
I get it. He's kind of like a generic ninja, but he's like the most ninja-iest ninja. We don't have that like he set like you were saying, he set a lot of the video game ninja tropes that other video game ninjas use. And he has like a bunch he has a bunch of like 3D fighting game combos from DOA and his Azuna drop move from there. He's got a whole bunch of weapons like almost Dante style from the 3D games. He's got claws and a scythe and all sorts of stuff. He uses a bow and arrow a lot. And then from the NES games, he has, just like Simon and Richter do, like sub weapons. He has the wheel of fire, and he has all sorts of different like gimmick shurikens, and just like he's got like a lot of like moveset's not a problem for him. Like I get where you're coming from, but like I feel like we still don't have like the prototypical
which is
video
fair.
game ninja.
Yeah, I can't really argue against it when we just got the prototypical hero character and might get the prototypical space marine. And
Solus, well, I think Master Chief is more the prototypical space marine.
I don't know.
Has that like kind of crazy edge to him.
Like, to be fair, he does now, but he did. I don't think he did when Doom first came out. He does now.
Yeah,
though.
I feel like the fans almost kind of pushed that onto him over time, and then it's just been like accepted and added into the game.
Yeah. So, Solus Curve brought up the that another possible Koei rep could be Kasumi from Dead or Alive, which Dead or Alive is obviously their big fighting franchise, which Ryu is actually in, and it's part of the same universe as Ninja Gaiden. And I mean, if there was going to be a Dead or Alive rep, specifically Dead or Alive, then Kasumi makes the most sense from that because she's effectively the mascot.
She's also a playable ninja in Ninja Gaiden 3, so she also has like her own katana moveset if you wanted to use it.
Yeah, is she like a bonus character? Because I know her sister Ayane is like an important character in Ninja Gaiden 3.
I love Ayane. Well, they both appear in the games, but in 3, I think she might only be playable in the Razor's Edge in the Wii U version.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure though, because that's the only one I played was the Razor's Edge.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, but I mean, it depends on how many fighting game characters. I mean, if DLC goes on long enough, he may try and make it like this big fighting game crossover as well, and we could get Heihachi, Kasumi, Scorpion, and depending on how he feels about assist trophy characters, there's also a Virtua Fighter. What's his name? Is it Akira? Yeah.
Akira, yeah.
Depending on how he feels about upgrading assist trophies. And then, I suppose you've also got, if you're going to go all fighting games, then you've got to have someone from Arc Systems. So probably Soul Bad Guy.
Soul Bad Guy, probably, yeah.
But
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, everybody talks about Heihachi, and I know, of course, they talk about Heihachi, but like Jin or Kazuya, like, have so much better moveset potential because they have the Devil Gene stuff from Tekken.
That's true.
As far as like a cool Smash gimmick, that works better.
Yeah, I mean, it'd have to be one of the Mishimas for Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just because Heihachi's been the most recurring element of the series, because like Jin and Kazuya have kind of swapped out with one another over the years. They're both now in it, with Kazuya obviously being the main character. Though I know they tried to replace him with Lars in Tekken 6, I think, and it didn't really go anywhere.
Heihachi has been like the face of the series, though. It would feel a little weird to me if we got a Tekken rep, just because of how like we got Ryu, now we got Terry. You know, if we didn't get just the face of Tekken,
Yeah,
it's
which
a
is
little weird.
we need an old
But what's
man
funny
character.
is that in the crossover, like in SNK versus Capcom, Akuma is Heihachi's rival. Like Ryu's rival is Kazuya.
Yeah, and that makes sense for that game because Kazuya is the main character in the same way Ryu is, whereas Akuma is the big villain, ancient villain type.
He's like the original boss.
Yeah, which is what Heihachi is as well. So that, and then I guess M Bison would be Jin, I guess, in that. No, sorry, Jin's the main character, isn't he? Is Jin even in that crossover? Because Jin's a good guy.
But Jin, like after 3 became kind of the protagonist, like the Ryu type, because Kazuya was in part 1. It was actually Kazuya, but then like at the end, he was all like, "I've disposed of Heihachi. Now I'm evil."
Well, I thought it was at the end of Tekken 2 Kazuya because there's Tekken 1 where Kazuya, it's all about Kazuya taking down Heihachi, and he does, and then Tekken 2 he actually comes back to get revenge, and it's Tekken 2 is where the Devil Gene is first introduced, and that's where Kazuya first transforms into Devil Kazuya, and then there's a time.
Wasn't Kazuya the boss of that one?
Well, yeah, because I think Heihachi's the main character. I think Heihachi's the main character of Tekken 2. I think it follows him coming back, and then you have Devil. And then it cuts
Kazuya beat him in the first one. That's why he comes back.
Yeah, and then Heihachi comes back, so you're actually playing as the villain in Tekken 2. But then there's a time skip, and Kazuya's not even in Tekken 3, and Jin's the main character instead. And Heihachi's the main villain with Ogre, I think, is the final boss. And then Tekken 4 is when Kazuya comes back, and Kazuya's now a villain. And he swapped over to being the main villain for a bit.
Was in Street Fighter X Tekken. That's crazy.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if Jin wasn't in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, because Jin would be the obvious rival to Ryu, not Kazuya. But if Jin's not in it, then... But I guess there's no reason to have Jin and Kazuya, because they are both there. Jin was built to be a Kazuya replacement.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's...
So... But all right, so Genos, we don't actually know what your prediction is.
No,
for
he was in it, but he's okay. So Jin actually doesn't have a rival because I'm looking at the wiki because he's like a sub boss for all the Street Fighter characters.
Right. Okay.
And his counterpart then is M Bison, which is weird.
Yeah. Well, that's what it should be. Kazuya and M Bison, in my opinion. Kazuya, M Bison, Jin, Ryu, Akuma, Heihachi. Anyway, Genos, we actually haven't heard what your final prediction is for the Fighters Pass. Who you think character number 5 should be?
Oh man, okay. It's really tough to say, and you've definitely touched upon a lot of characters that like I've thought about, and I've thought about the whole thing with like which company is going to get a rep here and stuff. So Doom Guy seems pretty likely to me. I'll say that, just same reasons that have already been talked about here, so I won't re-go over all that, but I think Doom Guy's pretty likely. I think Ryu Hayabusa is pretty likely. I think Koei Tecmo, they're already in Smash with Fatal Frames, so yeah, it's a big possibility that that'll happen. But I will say my initial thought for the Fighters Pass, who I've been kind of waiting on and I thought would potentially happen, but I lost a little bit of hope for in the last bit of Smash news that we got, was Jill Valentine, a Resident Evil rep. I do feel like this Fighters Pass has happened, and we've gotten no female reps. You mentioned Kasumi, right, who's a possibility. I mean, we have Kazooie from Banjo-Kazooie. But,
it's like a half step.
Yeah, but we don't have a female rep, and that feels a little strange, especially when like the ballot, one of the few things you put on the ballot was your gender. And so Nintendo was definitely somewhat, aware of the representation in that form. So I feel like a female rep needs to happen. And if I had to pick like a female video game character that would fit really well, I'd probably go with Jill to represent Resident Evil. And Resident Evil is one of those game series where, like we were talking about, the West and the East both really like Resident Evil. It has history, like it checks all the boxes. But what has somewhat made me doubt it is that we got the Zero and Proto Man Mii costumes back with the last like set of Mii costumes, and it feels kind of like if we were going to get Capcom Mii costumes back, wouldn't you have them come back alongside a Capcom character in a similar way that like when Joker came out, we got the Sonic ones because Atlas is owned by Sega. So that's made me kind of doubt. I don't know if the last character is actually going to be a Capcom rep. I think maybe further DLC we could get a Capcom rep. And see, it's similarly with Namco. I have some doubts that it'll be Namco. So Bethesda or Tecmo getting a new company on board feels a little more likely to me. But the character I've kind of been waiting on, the character I thought was likely for a long time, was Jill Valentine. So she's still kind of sitting in my mind as like a possibility for the final fighter here.
I do think we should get a Resident Evil character between either Jill, Leon, or the Nemesis.
Yeah,
I think those are the three
personally,
top choices.
I like Leon more. Like I like Resident Evil 4 is my favorite Resident Evil, and it has more of a like Nintendo history.
Mm-hmm.
But I just again with that we don't have a female rep yet, and Jill fits for representing all of Resident Evil. I could just see it happening. And Jill's been in like Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff, so she already has
2 and 3.
Yeah, so she has like a bit of a fighting game moveset already. So
yeah,
that's kind of just where my mind's been for a while.
Well,
so we'll see if it happens. But
I'd hope they'd make it based on 2 and not 3.
Top one for me.
Yeah, I want before
Yeah, that's
all
a
this
much cooler moveset.
Yeah.
Before all this is said and done, I do feel like Resident Evil getting represented in Smash would be really big. And we talked about how like Doom Guy is a first-person shooter rep, but Resident Evil is like the horror genre. And I mean, I guess you could make the argument for Castlevania, but we don't necessarily have just like a straight-up survival horror rep, so that could fit and bring a whole new genre of video games into Smash. I do think first-person shooters missing a bit too. So.
I think I see like some people, specifically Matthew Rondello here saying Jill with a Leon alt. They don't work as alts like at all. Like they have different personalities. The taunts wouldn't work. They're different sizes a little bit. Like it wouldn't work. I do think that you could maybe do Jill and Leon as echoes, which I think like Resident Evil is like a top 1 for me. It's definitely like a top 5 franchise that I want in. But I think it makes sense past the Fighter's Pass, because the Fighter's Pass has to be, because they were selling it as a pass, everything has to be exactly the same thing. Spirit board.
There could be no
stage,
echoes. They said no to echoes.
Exactly.
And Resident Evil would be a perfect character to get like Jill and Leon with echoes like that.
Exactly. So I think they're like a really good choice for one of the first post Fighter Pass characters. I don't see it for the Fighter Pass though.
Yeah. I think the toughest thing for me is just to go the whole Fighter's Pass without a female rep feels weird, and I really can't think of like, I mean maybe Kasumi, but I feel like you'd go with Ryu Hayabusa instead. I feel like Jill is the only character that. I mean, there's other worthy female video game characters, but I don't know if they'd have them for the pass, like Lara Croft. I don't think it'll have them for the pass. We already got Hero from Square, so I keep going back to Jill, but.
The 2 coolest female characters are Lara Croft and 2B, and they're both Square. So
yeah, I don't see us getting another Square rep. So, but now I'm unsure if we'll even get a Capcom rep because of those Mii costumes and the way that went down. So maybe it is just like Doom Guy or Ryu Hayabusa.
We haven't gotten the Heihachi costume back yet, right?
The what?
Yeah, we haven't got the Heihachi costume. Hasn't come back yet.
No, and we also don't have
or Gilgamesh.
Yeah, we don't have Gilgamesh. We don't have Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia either. We don't have any of the Namco ones. Namco also strikes me a bit like, because they're working on Smash, they might kind of be thinking like, we have Pac-Man in, and we're not going to push any of our other characters because we'll let other companies get in, and we'll kind of take a step back. Just kind of being like polite in that way. I could see them getting a character way late down the road, just because they want to like. Let everybody else get in. Let's get as many stuff as we can, and kind of just, again, it feels like a polite move to not push their own characters. But hey, maybe they're saving it. Maybe the original end to all this was the end of the Fighter's Pass, so maybe they are saving like Heihachi or Lloyd or something for the end.
Yeah, maybe. It depends how seriously they're taking this "we need new universes" thing in, because technically through Pac-Man's taunt, you have Tekken representation, you have Taiko representation, you got tons of others, Katamari Damacy representation.
And it does feel like when they made that choice, because they added Heihachi to Pac-Man's taunt.
Yeah, he wasn't in Smash 4, yeah.
Right, so to make that choice feels kind of like that mindset of, well, we're gonna do the Fighters Pass. I don't know if we're gonna do any after that, but let's at least get Tekken in there in some form, you know. But then now further Fighters Pass, that feels like a better spot for Tekken or even just a Namco rep in general.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think the Hiachi Mi costume's going to come back with Terry. Like, it was added along with Ryu along with Akira and Jackie from Virtua Fighter. That was like the fighting game characters Mi costume set. And I can see the exact same thing happening now with Terry. The fighting game set. Yeah. But that
I was thinking.
Sorry, go on, Kody.
Sorry, I was thinking that the female rep was going to be Nakarudu, and then that was going to be like the thing that would balance out the pass a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know who the last rep would be if it's.
No.
I
was thinking Toho rep.
Get Remu.
I don't know. It's possible.
Could happen. I see. I was thinking the female character was going to be Cosmos because I felt like they were going to do something Xeno related because of how many people really wanted another Xenoblade character in Smash.
I think Rex is back on the table in a big way with further DLC.
I know with the Xenoblade 2 remake coming out, they could just go double back down to the first game and put Fiora in.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Should be more relevant.
Fiora's Final Smash have all the characters that aren't in Shulk's. And then Shulk because she's in his.
Yeah, because she's in his, yeah.
Well, I mean, they have Chrom and Robin's Final Smash still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The model's there,
She
Sakurai.
wants Charla and Ryan and Melia to get some
to get some
shine.
love, yeah. So that's
I was gonna say, Chrom being in Robin's Final Smash really bugged me until we got Piranha Plant and Mario is in, or not Final Smash. Yeah, he's in the Final Smash, but he's in the victory screen too. But then we got Piranha Plant's victory screen, and it has Mario in it, and I felt a little more like, all right, it feels like something Smash does sometimes. It's kind of like Olimar having the elf alt costume. Like, it feels better with Bowser Jr. having all the Koopalings. Like, I if only one character has something odd, it bugs me. But
it stands out. It's like,
a little more acceptable.
I still think
I don't know why.
Still think Alf was robbed and should be promoted in a free update.
His own character. Now he's not on the banner.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
He's not on the banner. He doesn't get an amiibo.
And he'd be so easy to do. Make him an Echo and give him Rock Pikmin. They don't have Rock Pikmin at all. Just have him pull Rock Pikmin instead of Purple Pikmin, and there you go.
They don't even need to do that. Daisy has basically nothing different from Peach other than some aesthetics.
True.
I know.
Just do that. Give him a few new taunts, and there we go.
Why don't I ever see people talk about Laura as a Xenoblade rep? She was basically the protagonist of Torna, so
yeah.
I mean,
basically its own game.
I would much prefer Laura and Jin to Rex and Pyra.
I do.
I think they're more interesting and more unique.
I like their designs a lot more too.
Yeah, they have a better character design.
Rex's design is just his shoes are too big.
Pants are so silly.
Yeah, it's like my least favorite Breath of the Wild costume. Like they added the Rex costume.
Oh yeah, the Rex costume.
Yeah, and it's like
I think Torn is actually a better game than Xenoblade 2.
Yeah,
same.
Actually,
I don't know if that's a hot take or not.
No, I think the combat in Torna is. I think the combat in Torna is better than the combat in 2. Like I like the swap in, swap out mechanic between them.
I would go as far as to say if you like Xenoblade as a series, but for some reason Xenoblade Chronicles 2 didn't connect with you, I would still suggest checking Torna out. Like, I would go that far.
Yeah, and it's much shorter as well. It's only like a 20-hour experience. It's like 1/5 of the length of Xenoblade 2. But all right. So that was for the Final Fight Pass. But obviously we have more DLC coming out. And I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts on what it is, because they obviously haven't said it's going to be a season pass. They haven't told us how many we're going to have, and they haven't given us any details. Probably waiting until at least until the 5th guy is announced in the season pass. So I'm curious how many characters you guys think and what they could do. Personally, I don't think they're going to do another season pass. I think the characters are going to be individual because it gives them more freedom to do what they want with the characters. Because a limit of the season pass was, they had to do 5, every single one had to have music, every single one had to have a stage, and then they had to add spirit battles for every single one. And they could still do spirit battles even in individual, but if they'd done individual ones, then there's no reason that it needs to come with a stage. There's no reason we couldn't have Echo Fighters as DLC, because they could be their own thing. Like, I think it frees up a lot, and I think that's what they'll want to focus on. That way they can get a combination of fan favourites like Bandana D and Dixie Kong, who are first party and wouldn't necessarily bring in a new world, but have been really heavily requested. And they don't have to come with stages, like how Corrin didn't come with a stage. And then they can also have third parties like Ryu, who can then potentially come with a stage and music and stuff.
I think maybe they have been working on planning the second Fighters Pass, and while they are finishing up the finalizing of that Fighters Pass, they will be releasing singles of characters, like one-off kind of things like you were talking about, for other characters like Bandana D and characters like that.
Like an intermission DLC.
Yeah.
Between Fighters Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends, because I guess Nintendo knows from the ballot what was popular, so they like, I think out of characters that aren't full-on Mii costumes or assist trophies or playable, like the two that stand out to me the most are Bandana Waddle Dee and Dixie Kong. Like they're like just having these long-standing things. So it depends if Nintendo tells Sakurai, hey, let's do like Fighter Pass style characters, and then maybe throw in a couple extras. Like I don't know what they want to do. Like Gino, I think, would also probably fit into that extras.
Yeah, I do too.
I agree.
because he could probably be packaged with just a couple songs and some spirits, and that would be it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you need like a stage for him.
Well, see, because
he's a Mario character, so he already has Mario stuff in there, and like Bandana Waddle Dee already has Kirby stuff in there. Dixie Kong's already Donkey Kong stuff. You could definitely just give us like just the character, and that's enough,
Yeah. Although
those are the three like that I think of a lot for like older stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, to bring it up finally, because I know people have asked it in the chat, and obviously PapaGenos is here. With regarding Gino in Smash, I do actually think he could potentially be a possibility even for the Fighter Pass now. Like, I was vehemently thinking he didn't have really much of a shot because of his sort of obscurity still, and if they want to focus on new worlds and stuff, and with the spirits and all that. But if we sit down and think about it, like even for the Fighters Pass with stages and spirits, Mario RPG doesn't really have anything in it, and it has so many unique factors in it that they could do a whole spirits battle board with just Mario RPG characters like Mallow, Boshi, Smithy, etc. And I think it would classify. It's almost classifying itself as a half world. Like, I don't know if it'd have the Mario logo.
Yeah.
I'd hope it still has the Mario logo because it's technically still Mario, but it doesn't necessarily need to because it's kind of a co-owned thing. But with the
only reason I wouldn't think it would be a part of the Fighters Pass would just because of the spirits, the Geno spirit and the Mallow spirit.
Yeah, that's my only thought for not having Geno and the pass is that it's that whole thing with when they picked which characters were in the Fighters Pass, did they also go, well, if we can't get to these characters, or if we're not going to do further DLC, or if that's still up in the air, let's at least put them in the game in some way, like a spirit, assist trophy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that may have happened already with Geno, but I've always thought Geno fit really well as like a bonus, a extra fighter, because he just has a big fan demand. He's also, there's something, whenever I talk about like Smash characters, Geno is always the weird exception to the rule. It's like, is he third party? Well, he's a Mario character, but he is third party. Like, he always falls into a weird spot. Mm-hmm. And just the whole concept of everyone is here having a lost Mario character, come back to Nintendo is like, it fits that so well. So I always kind of thought that initially when I wasn't sure, if DLC was happening, that Geno would be like basically Piranha Plant's spot.
Yeah, the surprise extra final character.
Yeah. I remember when like Box Theory was going on, for the base game, and it was like, oh, it's gonna be Ken and Incineroar, and then in my mind I was saying, yeah, but there's probably gonna be a bonus character, and my guess was Geno, and we did get a bonus character. It was a Mario character. It was Piranha Plant. But I could also see it happening with the pass, where we get a final character, and then let's say maybe Terry gets announced or shown off more, not announced, shown off more, and maybe they announce the final Fighter Pass character, and then at like the video game awards or at the reunion of the 1 year reunion of Smash, they give us an extra fighter, and it's Geno. That's the spot I always thought he fills nicely. But now that we have further DLC, I do think he's pretty likely to happen at some point. Further DLC and Sakurai saying he wants to satisfy the fans and stuff. And Geno does fall in that spot where even if we were to not get like any first party, even if it was all new game worlds, Geno is still that weird exception to the rule where it's like he's kind of third party. So that's my thoughts on where I think Geno might be right now.
Yeah, I think the two turning points for me with Geno were his lack of Mii costume. Because that really feels like a big standout. Because for a character so popular in this game, throwing popular characters in as Mii costumes and assist trophies, to literally just have Geno as a spirit. I mean, to be fair, they did the same thing with Bandana D and Dixie Kong, but at least Dixie Kong gets a Mii hat.
I'll put this out there too. It's like, so Bandana D and Dixie Kong are definitely first party Nintendo characters. But with Square, you'd think Square would want to make as much money off of Smash as possible.
Definitely.
And
yeah.
There's no way that the Geno Mii costume didn't sell. As I would say, maybe if it's not the #1 most selling Mii costume, I imagine it was very high selling Mii costume. I think everybody would probably admit that that's probably true.
Until Sans.
So,
yeah.
Well, now Sans might be, #1 spot for sure. But I imagine for Smash 4, I imagine Geno sold really well, and I would just think that Square would want to try to make as much money as possible off of DLC, so to opt to not put the Geno Mii costume back. And it would be one thing if Geno didn't have a spirit, because then it would be like, oh, maybe Nintendo just doesn't want to pay for it again, or however the negotiations are going, didn't work out. But he is a spirit, so they're definitely okay with Mario RPG and Smash, so to not sell him as a Mii costume, it's really suspicious what's going on. Like, where is he?
Yeah, I think the other one for me was Banjo-Kazooie, because Banjo-Kazooie, I mean, it's a third party character and all that, and it's a big fan request character, but they're also like not relevant at all, because that's always been the other big thing against Geno. Geno he's a playable character from one game in a really old a really old Mario game that's not relevant anymore. But Banjo-Kazooie is also he's the main character from a game that hasn't really done anything in over a decade and hasn't been on Nintendo platforms for pretty much 2 decades. Like Geno's been more recently on Nintendo platforms thanks to the re-releases of Mario RPG on the Wii and Wii U.
There's the re-release on the Wii, the Super NES Classic. The Geno Mii costume in Smash 4 is technically, homage to the character in recent years. And the spirit in Smash, there's definitely been some things that have referenced Geno. He's less dead specifically on Nintendo than Banjo has been.
Exactly, and the fact that we got Banjo because of Pan Demand and Sakurai's comments before on Geno and potentially having him in Brawl and stuff like that makes me think that with additional DLC, he is possibly very likely. Like. He'd also be a good
because
final.
A lot of Smash characters are trying to sell something or trying to form a good relationship with a company. What Geno would really do? That's the only problem I have.
That's why. I mean, he'd be a fan pick in the same way that Banjo would be completely a fan.
Yeah.
But that's also why he might be better.
Bonus.
It might be why he's better in the Fighters Pass, because people have already paid for the Fighters Pass to get all those other characters.
That's why I'm a little wary of him being in the Fighters Pass as well. As additional DLC, I think he has a pretty good shot. But there's also this is, I'm going to get a little conspiracy theory here. But there's the possibility that Nintendo bought like the rights to Mario RPG back, or the rights to like Geno Malo back. We have Cloud in Smash, and the only spirits that came from Square in the base roster for Smash were Cloud himself. We didn't get like Sephiroth or anything Final Fantasy VII as spirits, and Geno and Malo. Those are the only Square spirits in the base game. Piranha Plant, when you do Palutena's Guidance, they mention Mega Smilax, which is a boss from Mario RPG. And it's like, would Nintendo actually pay Square to just do this throwaway line for this one character? So I think it's completely possible, and Mario RPG is pretty much useless to Square except to sell it to Nintendo.
Yeah,
So is it possible that in all these negotiations and stuff, at some point, maybe around the time the Geno Mii costume showed up and Sakurai decided to do Smash Ultimate, they've been planning the whole time, like, we're gonna just buy the rights to this game, back from Square or these characters, and we're gonna start seeing Geno in Mario Kart, in Mario Tennis, Mario Baseball, whatever happens with Mario Party, all those games. And if that's the case, then introducing him back into Mario in Smash, and then having the character just in Mario games from now on, would make a lot of sense from a promotional standpoint.
true. I wonder if that's the case, they might even have been working on some kind of Mario RPG remake.
It's a possibility too. I always thought maybe the Paper Mario games were more ripe for a remake, but
Yeah,
but
but
potentially doing something with Mario and Luigi Superstar or Paper Mario
that
or
too.
whatever the further Mario RPG is, and having Geno come back and be a part of whatever
Yeah,
the next thing is would
that would
make
work
sense too.
too.
Yeah, as Paper
As
Mario was originally Mario RPG too. So
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But all right, so back onto the topic of like how many stuff we feel like we're gonna be getting, I suppose. Spazzy, do you have any thoughts on how much? Actually, no. Let's do Kody first. Kody, do you have any thoughts on how much stuff we're gonna get? Like, do you think it'll be another season pass? Do you think it's just going to be a bunch of individuals? Do you think we'll get Echo Fighters?
Okay, so I think that what I was talking about before, we're gonna have basically like an intermission where we're going to get a few extra fighters as one-off kind of DLC things, and then we're going to get another Fighters Pass. But I think that's going to happen multiple times. I don't think it's just going to be for a Fighters Pass 2. I think there will even be more intermission characters after that, and then we're going to get a Fighters Pass 3. I think it's going to go up to that point, maybe even more than that, but I'm seeing more up to Fighters Pass 3. I think we are going to hit 100 characters though.
Yeah, okay. So
it's ambitious, but I think it's going to happen just because of the way Sakurai was talking about it, and the way because it makes Nintendo so much money. I think there's no way they're just going to let it slide and not take the opportunity.
It's so crazy to hear you say that, and to be sitting here and not thinking like, oh, well, that's never going to happen. Like that's this lofty idea. It's sitting here and going, yeah, that could happen. Like,
it's crazy to think about. It really is. Like,
yeah.
I it's hard for me to even comprehend that we could even have 100 characters in this game. But honestly, like, it's just like a why not kind of thing. Like, Nintendo knows it makes them money. Sakurai wants to keep doing it as long as Nintendo wants to keep doing it. And there's just so many other characters that could be added. So I think it's possible. Echo Fighters, too, I think are also going to be a part of that. I don't think they're going to be a part of the Fighters Passes that come out, but probably as those intermission characters, for sure.
I like the idea of intermission characters. I hadn't thought about it that way. I was really thinking either or with individual or Fighters Pass, but I'm liking that. That's a good train of thought.
I think it just break everything up, and I do think that Echo Fighters are a good way to also help expand out the roster. It's mainly because like I think Dixie Kong's best chance, in my opinion, is as a Crom style Echo Fighter for Diddy Kong, and I will forever argue that.
Like, I mean, I feel like you could, in the same way that you can make Dark Samus an Echo, and it's just kind of
they did
weird.
make Dark Samus an Echo.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But I feel like she works so much better as like Isabelle. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, in an ideal,
like semi-clone.
In an ideal world, all the Echoes would be like Isabelle. But it's not unfortunately not necessarily the case, and I think Dixie Kong, if she's going to have any chance of getting in, is going to be because of how easy it's going to be to mold her from Diddy Kong. And I think it should be a good headliner for an Echo Fighter Pass.
I feel like the Dixie fans too have just waited so long for her, and she's such a character that like feels like she should be on the roster at this point. that like whether she's an Echo or an Isabel style like semi-clone, whatever it is, like I don't think her fans care all that much. I think they just like
They want her in.
want her in. Like
Yeah.
They need her dash. She needs at least her dash attack, the hair grab, the peanut pop gun would have to become the bubblegum gun, and her up B would have to be the hair.
Yeah, her up B would have to be the
4 things.
Her up B becoming that is fine. I think you can change the animation for her forward roll, but keep the same hitboxes as Diddy Kong's, and it would still work.
Yeah,
because changing animations isn't an issue. It's making sure the hitboxes and the power are the same, so that they don't have to spend too long balancing it.
Right,
True,
like Dark Samus has some like she floats and stuff. So Dixie Kong could do like the cartwheel instead of like a roll, but like you said, it could be the same hitbox, the same just a different animation.
Like, because they'd have to change Diddy Kong's two moves with her tail. Yeah, well, I think the hair grab is going to have to be, because it wouldn't work as a pummel just because of how those work. It would have to be like her standard grab and then pummel. She hits them with her hair or something, but then for any throw, she chucks them. She picks them up with her ponytail and throws them like that. I suppose, unless you're talking about picking up barrels, I suppose, in which case. Maybe.
Yeah, that would be a whole other thing.
But I feel like in Tropical Freeze, she just
said,
picks them up like everyone else does with her hands and not with her ponytail. Like, I feel like they ditched that.
To be honest with you.
I have a feeling I've gone back and checked that because of people saying this, and they ditched the whole hair picking up thing.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I played Tropical Freeze. I played it on Wii U. I didn't play the Switch one, so it's been a while.
I think,
but you can replace Diddy's tail attacks with her hair attacks.
Yeah,
and just have a similar hitbox.
I agree. Well, Phantom's asking.
Definitely ways to do it.
Phantom's asking if people would really want to pay for characters that are too similar to already existing ones. If the character's popular enough, I think they would. If they were cheaper, I think they would. Or if they were sold as a pack, I think people would. Like I'm
like $250 for. I would pay $250 for an Echo.
Yeah. If they cut them in half, or like there is an Echo Fighters Pass, and full well buying it, you're just buying Echoes.
Yeah, and it's cheaper than all the others and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it's like a $10 Fighter Pass or something.
Yeah.
Like
even if the Echo comes with something a little extra, like music track or a couple of them or something like that.
Yeah, I think people will buy that. So, I mean, I bought the Inkling's meat costume in Smash 4 just so I could get the Inkling trophy. So I'd buy Echoes just to get one soundtrack. Like it's the incentives.
Yeah, so this is not Smash related, but very important. I just got a text from my cousin. He was at Halloween Horror Nights last night, and they have one of the scare zones, because there's the houses and then there's the outside scare zones for people that haven't gone, and those are also themed. There's an arcade themed one with like crazy scary arcade stuff, and they were playing Bloody Tears. I just want you guys to know that.
Okay. Nice. I don't know what any of that was up till Bloody Tears, but thank you for enlightening me.
Are you familiar with Halloween Horror Nights?
No, not at all. And Halloween is a good month and
Universal
2 weeks away, so...
Well, but they just opened it. Universal has like haunted houses, basically.
Oh, okay.
During Halloween.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, and at night they change the entire park, so they have like 8 houses, and then outside connecting all the houses, like on the where you just walk, all the walkway areas, they theme them also as like different scary themes, and one of them is like a haunted arcade.
Right. This isn't Smash related, anyways. No. I mean, I want to see it. I want to see an Echo Fighter Pass. Because I think Dixie Kong would be a good headliner for it. I'd really still want another Zelda rep, and would really like Impa, but Impa would work so the best as a Sheik Echo, because Impa sort of taught Sheik everything.
It almost feels like Impa, like Sheik is only in Ocarina of Time, really, and it feels like Impa is almost the better character to be Sheik. Honestly, honestly.
I mean, and when you think about all the characters who lasted past the first Zelda game, the only one who's not in Smash is Impa. Like, first Zelda was Ganon, Link, Zelda, Impa, and then an old man and a fat man who owned a shop. And
the fairies,
kind of. But they were sort of items and stuff. And there is a fairy bottle item in Smash, so.
I'm not gonna lie. If I wanted another Smash character from the or another Zelda character for Smash, it'd probably be Tingle.
I mean, Tingle would be
agree.
great for a unique character, but I think or Midna would also be really good for a unique character. But I think if we're gonna have an Echo, I think if Impa's gonna get in, it's gonna have to be as an Echo Fighter of Sheik. And I think it would be a really
trophy is gone.
yeah, it is gone.
His assist trophy's gone, but he's still on that one.
He's still in our hearts.
Yeah.
Well, that's Majora's Mask Tingle. Just make him Wind Waker Tingle.
There you go.
Or Tingle from his own series.
Or Tingle's.
Yeah,
Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land
Tingle. Give him an alt costume that's him without the outfit on.
You see characters
Tingle?
like.
Yeah.
If we did a unique character from Zelda, they could throw in like Impa as an Echo as part of a Zelda pass, so you can see that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would like to see Echo Fighters in somehow, some way.
Yeah, if they could
There's so many good choices.
Sorry, go on, Gino.
They could do like an Echo Fighters pass, like we said, but you just brought up a good point about like a Zelda pass, and maybe they're smaller. You know, it doesn't have to be 5 characters, but maybe it's a character, music, and an Echo Fighter or something. Like, and they do passes like that. That would be cool.
I think they
There's
need
so many
to count
options
individual.
now that
There
they're not
are
doing
options,
not
yeah.
officially calling it a second pass.
Right. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're gonna get. It's crazy.
And to tie it back to Ring Fit Adventure, give us Ring Fit Hero as a Wii Fit Echo. I think it would work.
See that. Yeah.
I think it would work.
Just replace the hula hoops with the ring.
Yeah, all you need to do is figure out what to change the side B to, but maybe there is something like that in Ring Fit Adventure anyway, because through the ring she can fire a beam, and the deep breathing uses a ring anyway, so...
I am like...
It already uses yoga moves.
Exactly, so...
The Ring Fit Adventure had like... down on the bottom, there was like a icon of like how you're supposed to move, and it kind of looked like Wii Fit Trainer. So I'm wondering if that's like, is that canon? That is Wii Fit Trainer in another game.
This is her in color.
I really hope so.
I wonder if the
because
Ring Fit
people know
Hero...
that character now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a Nintendo character now.
Yeah.
I feel like the Ring Fit Hero was basically an attempt at redesigning the Wii Fit Trainer to make the Wii Fit Trainer more recognizable, basically.
More
right
RPG
now,
friendly, I think.
They had to do some basically touch-ups on the Wii Fit Trainer for Smash Ultimate to make them look less lifeless.
But no, I mean, I think it's because the world is in color and make it more RPG focused. That's why her hair goes sets a flame when she's running. But like she looks so uncannily like her in like physique, height. They both have ponytails. They both have the same yoga pants. I don't know what you'd call it. Sports bra going on. So like, it would work really well. And if they're deciding the new DLC now, well, it's it's perfect timing.
Yeah,
So
I'd even be
the
okay
Astral
with.
Chain
So this is
makes
like
so much sense.
this is like a totally different thing. Like the DLC, obviously we know we're getting more characters, but this is something I've wanted as DLC for a while. Is more costumes. Like add costumes for characters. That would be so cool. I think a lot of people would buy that. And I'm just thinking of like the original quote unquote Little Mac, the wireframe. I don't think he even had a name from the arcade Punch Out. And then there's Little Mac, who was in like NES and further. Are kind of like, that's a total redesign of that character. You could kind of do the same thing with the Ring Fit Adventure girl just being a costume for Wii Fit Trainer.
Yeah, that works as well. That gets us back to an Alf situation.
That would be great.
Like Elf and Olimar again.
Yeah.
You could even change the name down at the bottom, but just so it's a more full of life looking character.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about third parties possibly from series that are already represented? Because there's 3 that I think really stand out, and that's Sonic, Street Fighter, and Final Fantasy. Like, I could honestly see any of them getting another rep. Hopefully Final Fantasy, because that would probably come with music.
I think if they were
two music tracks.
If they were Echo Fighters, I think yes. Like if they did decide to upgrade assist trophies, because I guess that's another question which we'll cover after this. Do you think that they'll actually will upgrade assist trophies in order to get those fan demands in? But I think if they were Echo Fighters, stuff like Miss Pac-Man for Pac-Man, Proto Man for Mega Man, Zack for Cloud, and I guess Shadow is the obvious
obviously.
one for Sonic. Unless they wanted to go classic Sonic. It's the other rep.
Sort of do Metal Sonic and just change his animations to be like flying and stuff.
Yeah.
If you do the Dixie Kong type thing, you could do Tails. I don't think Tails isn't an assist trophy.
No, he has a Mii costume though.
He has a Mii costume. Yeah, he has a Mii costume.
He needs to be slower than Sonic too. Like he needs different stats. I feel like.
I feel like Tails is better as a Isabelle type thing because you need different stats. Yeah.
But speaking of Tails, I feel like Tails or maybe even Eggman / Robotnik are bigger than a lot of just brand new series. Like they would definitely generate
that's true.
that.
Eggman as a Bowser Jr. Echo.
That's a question. Will you get Echo fighters for different series? Will you have somebody who's an Echo fighter, somebody, but it's not from the same game series?
I think as long as they play the same, we can have a Captain Falcon Ganondorf situation because that's pretty much what that is. As long as they play the same and can have the same stats,
my number
I think
one
it's
want
fine.
for that. Really random, and nobody has ever agreed with me on this, but Jodie Summer from F-Zero was based off of Samus. Make her a Zero Suit Samus and give her fire instead of electrical attacks. That's it.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
it could work.
That could work. I see. I disagree on Street Fighter. I don't necessarily think Street Fighter needs another. I mean, it's a big series.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we got Ken already. If we're gonna get another unique. Yeah, but if we're going to start getting unique characters from other series, I'd rather they do like an actual unique Sonic newcomer before they do another Street Fighter character. The reason I say Chun-Li
is because if you look up like most iconic female video game characters, she's always going to be top 5.
Oh yeah, of course.
If you want to have like a comprehensive list of like the most iconic gaming characters, it's weird that when it comes to female characters, you're not going to have the biggest ones. Like, you know what I mean? That's the only reason.
I can agree with that. Like I was talking about Jill before and how I try to think of like who are the big enough female gaming characters to get into Smash for the Fighters Pass, were on my mind, and Jill kept coming to mind. But yeah, Chun-Li is one that I didn't think it was going to happen for the Fighters Pass because Street Fighter's already in Smash, well represented. But yeah, you're totally right about that. She would fit as a gaming icon character.
Yeah, agreed. Well, what do you guys think about assist trophies potentially being upgraded? Because of course, when planning initial DLC, when doing the base game, assist trophies were kind of there to fill in the fan favorites who just couldn't make it, like Isaac and Crystal and Takamaru, Bomberman, Shovel Knight, and of course Waluigi. Well, I feel like Waluigi is still one of the most requested characters to get in, and the only thing that's holding him back at this point is the fact that he's an assist trophy. But they could pull because obviously not depending on the stage, it limits what assist trophies appear, and depending on the character, background elements can change entirely to remove them from there.
Right.
So I don't think it's too difficult to be like, if someone is using Waluigi, the Waluigi assist trophy can't appear.
Yeah.
So what are you people's thoughts on them potentially having for fan demand DLC characters upgrading some assist trophies to be playable?
I think it's entirely possible, and I even think that they might not even go so far as to limit the assist trophies just because of situations like with Chrom still being in the final Smash but also being playable. I just think that situation in and of itself lends the freedom for multiple characters being on the stage, appearing the same way.
That's a good point.
Still being one can be playable, one is just the assist trophy.
Yeah, they could do it like that.
Go for it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm very 50-50 on the assist trophy thing. It's so weird. It's like, because on one hand, I feel like assist trophies are like, kind of throwing a bone to the fans. Like the character couldn't get in playable, but here you go. But on another hand, I also think Sakurai sometimes picks assist trophies because he thinks the character maybe doesn't have like a moveset potential for a full character. So I'm really 50-50 on it. I think spirits definitely will probably happen. But assist trophies, I think they could happen, and I feel like maybe what's going to happen is we get like one, and it is like Waluigi. We get like just one because of a huge fan demand that gets upgraded. I don't think we'll probably not get. I've heard some people say like, what if we get an assist trophy like pass, like a whole pass of upgraded assist trophies? I'm doubtful on something like that happening. I could see even like ending the very last DLC character, something like that, being like, oh, and here's Waluigi, and like boom, it happens at the very end. I could see something like that happening, but I really don't think it's going to be like, okay, here's further DLC, and we're getting Shadow and Isaac and Waluigi and Shovel Knight. Like I just don't see it happening.
I do hope it's
right
last.
Like moveset potential is probably why they are assist trophies in the first.
It's probably part of the reason for at least some of them.
I think that's probably why
Isaac could be a full
Bomberman.
character.
Yeah, Isaac could be, and so could Waluigi and Shovel Knight. But I think Bomberman was specifically
Kamaru
chosen
could be a
because
full
of
character. It's just they don't feel like they're big enough.
I mean,
comparatively to what they.
I definitely think
Ashley could be a full character.
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of these assist trophy characters have great moveset potential. I'm just thinking from like Sakurai's point of view, he perhaps maybe went to the drawing board, tried to do it, and said, "Yes, this isn't working out," or this. There's more to it than I think a lot of people realize when doing, what moves. So you can think up, oh, the character does this and that and this, but do they really play correctly? That's something Sakurai I think can envision better than most of us. So there's a possibility these characters Sakurai has attempted in his mind to figure out how they'd really move around and do everything in Smash, and maybe said, nah, it doesn't work.
I think my only fear for upgrading assist trophies is it's almost like a Pandora's box. Like
that too.
Like you get one, and then all the Isaac and all the Crystal and the Takamaru and Shovel Knight and Bomberman fans are all going to jump back up and be like, oh, can we have ours upgraded? Can we have ours upgraded? Can we have ours upgraded?
I hope they introduce more assist trophies, by the way. I don't think they will, but like, I want more, especially when they introduce new franchises. Why not?
I wonder if they might even make just an item DLC pack with assist trophies and
bring back
other
the
new
fan.
That'd be awesome.
Bring the fan
Bring
back.
back some of the cut items.
Yeah.
Fan and the cracker launcher, the two greatest items, both removed.
That's kind of like the like I was saying, alt costumes, like DLC. Just further DLC. Just the doors are so open right now to anything.
Man, give me a pass that is Pac-Maze 2.0, a new version of Pac-Maze with Miss Pac-Man as an Echo.
That would be really good. Yeah.
Perfect. That is the perfect pass.
Yeah. I can't stand that Pac-Land is the Pac-Man stage.
It sucks so bad.
It's like Pac-Man's in Smash, but like the most iconic thing about Pac-Man is just the look of the
classic arcade look.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Well, stages is a good sort of segues. Hold on. Stages segue to what I wanted to ask about as one of the last things. Is that how do you guys feel about new characters and new series without stages? Because I think I was talking with Push about this, and we were kind of both in agreement that if they don't do a season pass, then they're not stuck to having to do a set thing for each character. They could change focus to solely doing characters and getting characters out, and not have to spend that development time making the home stages for them. And that works perfectly for first parties like Bandana D, who already has Kirby stages in the game. But obviously for new series, they not having a stage, some people think that's they have to have stages. They must have stages. Whereas I personally, if Rob doesn't have a stage, so if Rob doesn't have a stage, I don't think Ryu Hayabusa needs a stage, as an example. But I'm curious what other people think about that.
It's not fair to the third party because it's not represented as well. And I mean, I know you can say, well, not all third parties have assist trophies or whatever, but that's part of the world of Smash. Like you said, right, Ryu Hayabusa, if we get him and we don't get Sky City Tokyo and we don't get that awesome Ninja Gaiden music and we might get a few tracks on those miscellaneous stages which nobody wants to play because it's just Find Me and then a bunch of Woohoo Island and garbage.
Pilot Wings.
It's not the same. And I like the stages just as much as the characters, man. Probably more because we have a ton of characters, but as far as new stages, I feel like there haven't been that many. We have 8 now in this game.
Yeah, even for just new stages in base game through DLC, we've gotten is it the same amount of stages this is in the Fighters Pass and stuff as we did for base game? Or more?
It's crazy. Maps are more like tracks in Mario Kart than a stage in a fighting game because it changes the way you play. It's such an integral part of the game. I would feel kind of cheated out. If it's between getting someone like Doom Guy or Ryu Hayabusa that I like and not getting them at all, I'd rather have it. but I just feel like it doesn't fit, especially with Sakurai wanting to give like each third party its due. He puts so much effort into how the third parties are represented. To not do a stage would be crazy. I think that for like Dixie or Xenoblade rep, or I think we'll probably get another Pokemon, maybe another Fire Emblem character. Those are things that 100%, like a Gen 8 Pokemon, like of course, like, and those won't have stages. But I personally, I could be wrong. I just don't see them doing a third party without a stage and a full music list.
Hmm.
If that music list is 2 songs from Final Fantasy VII.
Is that what is
think
the same for you, Kody?
Maybe the third party representation, it would, if it was a third party that's already represented in Smash, and maybe they wanted to do like an echo for them, like an example, if they were to do like Zack for Cloud as an echo, I don't know if that's actually, I don't think that's actually going to happen, but if they were to do something, yeah, that would be really weird. So if they were to do something, they might add like music to that. I think the best way to get more Final.
Oh, sorry, I accidentally fell out of the call. What the hell's going on? Bear with me 1 second, because I'm hosting. For some reason, the call just died.
Pro tag from another Final Fantasy, and then use that as an excuse to add, like, let's say 8 Final Fantasy songs from different games, and then combine the stages or something like that.
Sorry,
I don't know.
Cody, could you repeat what you just said? Because for some reason, Discord kicked me out, and I'm obviously the host, so no one else heard what you said.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's Discord's fault.
We just missed. Oh, we missed all of that. Okay.
Sorry
so
about
you say
that.
your thing, and then I'll interrupt you again and say the thing I said.
Yeah, the last thing I heard was Zack would be a really weird choice as an echo fighter.
Zack would be a weird choice, but I use that example because they could add an echo like that and attach music to it, not a stage, but since the third party's represented, like Ken and Ryu, for example, when the base game happened, they could do something like that and just add something extra like music, but also get more third party rep in there.
And then I brought up that Final Fantasy in particular is a weird one because just Final Fantasy VII is represented, so I could see them do like Noctis or Terra or another Final Fantasy protagonist as, Smash X Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 24 or whatever. So that one would be a little bit different. I could see them sneak music in that way. But anyway, so Kody, was that your point? Was there something else?
No, I was just saying that in regards to like characters always being attached to stages. I don't think it's if it's like a third party echo situation or a third party from a series that's already represented. I don't think they necessarily need a stage with them all the time.
But if it's a new universe entirely,
if it's a new universe entirely, I think it's absolutely has to have a stage with it, unless it's something that can't really have a stage. I guess I don't know. Like with Resident Evil, I don't know. I don't really play many of the games. I guess I just can't really imagine one happening a stage, but I could definitely see how one could be made for it. Obviously. But I don't know. I guess it's just up to the series and what interpretation Sakurai has with how he could really make that work. I think anything goes, though, essentially.
I'm definitely like in the camp where if a new series gets into Smash, we need like that game world represented, and that game world gets represented by a stage. Like it just feels like it should happen. However, conversely, just, as far as actual workload for Sakurai, amount of development time, etc., if we can just get a character from something and that's it, and that's, all they're able to give us, character and maybe a couple tracks of music or something, obviously I want it to keep going as long as possible. So, if a stage is unfeasible for whatever reason, I'd be okay with just a character. But ideally, and it will feel weird if we get a character from a third-party game and we don't get a stage with them, or we don't get like music from the game or something like that. It is going to feel very, very strange the first time that happens.
Real quick, since I didn't weigh in on the assist trophies, I I think
did
it's
you not?
possible, not likely. Yeah. And the only two that I can really like, first of all, the one I want to happen 100% is Bomberman. Like, I'm such a big Bomberman fan, and it's a shame that he's not in Smash and he won't get into the Smash as playable. But what you gonna do? Because Waluigi, because there was so much like ridiculous fan demand and outcry and like actual legitimate websites writing about him not being in Smash, that I don't think Nintendo realized that demand was there, so I could see him getting upgraded. And kind of the same for Shadow, because so many people wanted it. I don't think Nintendo and Sega knew that people wanted it, so I could see maybe him if we get Echoes. But besides that, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a likely thing to me, except for maybe those two.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's weird. It's just trophies are just in a weird spot where I could, again, the way I'm kind of looking at it is I think it's possible, but I think if it happens, it's going to be a very unique thing, something like just Waluigi, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked in the chat, what do people think about just standalone stage DLC, no characters, just stages? So like the reverse of what I said.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind that if it's for to bring back the lost stages, the stages that they didn't have in the base game, like Planet Zebes or Sector Z or Mushroom Kingdom Melee.
Poke floats.
Woolly World, man. Woolly World.
Yeah, Woolly World. Like if it was to bring back those stages, then yeah, sure. Because I do feel like not having every stage is a bit of a shame when you've basically got nearly everything else. But I also understand why they had to cut Woolly World, why they didn't bring back Mute City and Rainbow Road. Not Pac-Man, though. I mean, I kind of get why they didn't bring back Pac-Maze, but at the same time, it seems like such an easy fix. But whatever.
Yeah, I'm so shocked.
Just give us...
That's the only one.
Give us Pac-Maze 2.
Yeah.
At least give us Pac-Maze.
Pac-Maze Championship Edition.
Oh, yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I guess the last thing before we wrap this all up, because it's been nearly 2 hours and a half now, is, if you guys had some thoughts on what new series, who you think are very likely DLC options for the additional DLC, who would you say are your top picks? Like, for me personally, I'd be very surprised if we didn't see anything Astral Chain related. Like, we haven't even got Mii fighter costumes for them, whereas we at least got that with Splatoon. And I know it's Platinum Games making it and not Nintendo internal, but if that game's done really well, it's reviewed really well, they've got a good relationship with Platinum Games, it's an IP owned by Nintendo, it feels like the sort of thing that should have at least got spirits. So the fact that it hasn't got anything makes me wonder if they've held off to release it as its own thing later down the line.
Because it's
that
a
might
success, so...
Yeah, we'll wait to see if it's a success.
Down the line, like Fighters Pass 3.
It might be too irrelevant by that point.
Maybe, yeah.
I feel like they got.
I don't know if it'll be a standalone release, but it might be part of the next Fighters Pass.
Yeah, and my other one is still Puyo Puyo, because I still feel like that's such a big thing. And if you that big recent interview with the Sega guys, where they're talking about how in Japan Puyo Puyo's like a more recognized brand than like even Sonic the Hedgehog in Japan.
Yeah,
we got Puyo Puyo on the Super NES.
Yeah,
It's like the one Japanese like game that's on the Super NES online or whatever they call it
in the West. Yeah. So I really feel
Tetris
like
was released at the beginning of the Switch's life, you know.
Yeah, and it did really well. It was the best-selling version of Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Yeah,
it might have been the best. I think it was the best-selling version of best-selling Puyo Puyo game in the West, like as a whole.
Also, I was talking about before how we don't have a female rep in the Fighters Pass yet, and Arl, honestly, would fit that pretty well.
I would fit that very well, and she's technically originally from an RPG, so she has plenty of stuff to move from a moveset potential. If Sakurai can just somehow incorporate the puzzle mechanics from Puyo Puyo into it, maybe that's how she casts spells, by completing Puyo puzzles or something.
Blobs.
Yeah.
They're dropping blobs.
Wouldn't it be kind of a shame to get her, but not to get Lip from Penal de Pon to have that rivalry?
Well, we have a Lip Mii fighter costume, so
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like it would be so cool to have like a head-to-head, magical girl
puzzle
fight.
battle.
I mean, you could do Dr. Mario. We would have two puzzle reps.
My favorite magical girl, Dr. Mario.
Oh yes.
But
We get like a full Sailor Moon style transformation of Mario into
Yeah.
Dr. Mario.
The longer DLC goes on for, the more likely I think Puyo Puyo has a chance. And I think this could be, if they were just to do 5 again as an example, I think Puyo Puyo could really be one of them, because it's so different from all the others, and it's a puzzle rep, and it's such a big IP in Japan. Like, it's got to be coming up. When you're going through all the iconic Japanese IP, now you've gone through Dragon Quest, now you've basically got Fatal Fury, King of Fighters. You got to be getting closer and closer to Puyo Puyo. But those are my choices for series I think we could get. What about you, Genos?
So do you want to do series or just characters?
I guess characters. I was thinking of it more as not individual characters, so like not Bandana D, not Genos.
That was who I was going to talk about, just because Bandana Waddle D. I'll just say this real quick. Like back when Smash Ultimate wasn't, we didn't even have the. I don't even think we even had the title. It was just like Inkling was announced. I thought he was a lock. I was like,
yeah,
that's definitely happening. And so at this point, with further DLC, I am thinking, well, he's got to be a lock now. And,
I hope so.
I hope so.
First parties.
Yeah, I honestly think that if Smash Ultimate had been a regular Smash game and it had the usual 18 newcomers, we would have seen Bandana D, Dixie, Rex, and
Rhythm Heaven.
a Rhythm Heaven character,
Mario,
and
probably.
potentially Springman as well. I think we'd have seen all of them get added in.
If they didn't have to put development time into like getting Wolf and Pichu and Young Link,
and bringing them all back,
potentially going to get Snake and Cloud back and everything. They weren't getting everybody back, and they were just okay. We'll just add characters, and whoever we can easily get, we'll put into. Yeah, I feel like those characters would have happened.
Yeah.
As far as further series, when we talked about a little bit, but I don't know if it'll happen in the Fighters Pass, but for further DLC, I feel like it might. Is a Tales of rep, probably Lloyd. It's a really big JRPG series, and I just think that it might not happen in the Fighters Pass because we already got Dragon Quest, but I feel like in Japan, getting a Tales of character would be really big. And Lloyd, I think Sakurai was on record saying if he were to put in a Tales of rep, it would have to be Lloyd. Like, that's who he'd pick, and that's why the Lloyd Mii costume happened. So I think that'll probably happen. Sakurai said Rex, he was like, he wanted to put him in, but we gave us a Mii costume because the timing didn't happen. So I really feel like that'll probably happen in further DLC, because if it was only a timing problem, that's out the window now. Besides those two, I mean, everything we kind of already talked about. I feel like, if Resident Evil doesn't get in for the Fighters Pass, I feel like it might be coming later down the line, stuff like that. That's what comes to mind anyway.
All right. What about you, Kody?
Okay, so is it only third-party series that we're talking about?
No, I talked about Astral Chain. That's first party.
Yeah, that's right.
Bandana Waddle D.
Yeah, Bandana Waddle D. Okay, so Rhythm Heaven. It's gotta happen. I'm just so shocked that there has been so much stuff put into Ultimate and so many characters, but there have only been like 2 Rhythm Heaven songs, not even a representative. They had Spirits, which was good, but why did it only happen now? I feel like I don't know if you all were probably savvy with leaks back in the day. Maybe Genos, you probably were.
The Gamatsu leak?
Yes, the Gamatsu leak.
Yeah.
It's infamous for having the chorus kids on it. And I do think, because the Rhythm Heaven icon was found in Smash 4, that it was planned and it was going to happen at some point, but was cut.
Yeah.
And Smash Ultimate's development cycle probably prevented them from being added as characters, because they had to, like you were saying before, they had to get all those other characters back in the game.
Had to get Pichu back.
I had to get Pichu for the chorus.
They cut like 20 characters to get Pichu back. But
it was a very heavy investment.
Yeah.
So I think Rhythm Heaven is definitely going to happen as one of these one-off extra DLC things, and it's probably going to come with the stage and music too. It needs to happen. It's one of the most modern series that Nintendo has that isn't represented as well as so many others in Smash. It's so weird to me.
The only thing I can think of with Rhythm Heaven, and especially like you were saying, the whole chorus kids were probably planned for Smash Wii U and 3DS
Yeah.
and at some point. The only thing I can think of is that they had some sort of rhythm based, maybe going with the music or like Sakurai probably had some kind of move set in his head, and maybe it just didn't work. Or potentially, if it was chorus kids, it might have
Ice
been something
Climbers
like
problem.
yeah, like the Ice Climbers problem, that there was 3 characters moving around and there was
Yeah.
some issue. But obviously, we don't have that problem anymore. So
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it will happen. If it's not the chorus kids, probably Karate Joe, but chorus kids were probably already developed before. They probably just need to keep finishing them.
yeah, whatever. I'm just wondering. I'm very curious. I'd love to see an interview with Sakurai, just to pick his brain a little bit of what was that character, like what was that idea,
what
and what
happened
stopped
to
it. Yeah.
So that's probably my top pick. The other ones would probably just be not really series, but other characters like Bandana Waddle Dee and other first parties. I don't really have many third party preferences besides maybe some indie characters. I think maybe Quote from Cave Story, which is I don't really like Cave Story that much, but Quote seems like a very recognizable and very indie representative character, you know?
Yeah.
Granddaddy of the modern indie.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
He's
like
like
that
the
would be a very good rep to have in Smash, just because he represents that kind of thing.
It's always been tough with indies. Like, do you rep it with Shovel Knight? Do you rep it with Shantae? Quote. And there's always like new ones coming out, like Sans. You know, like
Yeah,
it seems like it always changes who the face of indie games is.
yeah.
And who people want. But yeah, Quote, if you just go with, well, let's just go with seniority, go with, the original.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he was developed. That game was developed in Japan too, and it's reached worldwide.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
Or what about?
Rimu kind of fits that too, right? She's sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
she's older than Quote as well, and has been in more
Yeah.
Oh, that's right,
places.
yeah.
Is in more games.
I wonder. Yeah, maybe she could be a higher. She could have a higher possibility too. I don't know.
It's just so incredibly niche in the West, and I know I'm
True.
probably
Yeah.
gonna get a lot of flack for this because it has a very like hardcore and like just like I guess good fan base. Like they're really into it, but it's so small. Like if you go to most gaming communities and bring it up, they'll be like, "What?"
Maybe this
I
is why
had-
Smash is the chance to promote video games to new
Yeah.
True.
people.
And it's a chance to promote Japanese video games in particular.
Yeah.
I played one Toho game once, and a friend brought some sort of monitor, and he turned it like sideways or like vertically,
Yeah. 'cause
and we
shooter.
played. Yeah, it was some like bullet hell shooter Toho game, and it was really cool. He brought it into the game store I used to work at, and we were like playing it. That's the only time I've ever played a Toho game. It was neat and everything. But even doing that, I didn't know who Rimu was, or Reimu, however you say it, until like just Smash speculation, and I heard people wanted her, and I did like the research.
Yeah.
So definitely niche. Outside of Smash speculation, I don't hear anybody ever in the West talking about her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
That's
wet
just
and
the
niche.
Somebody
reality.
said like SNK, but it's not like SNK. Like they're right. Like Terry
Yeah,
is really recognizable.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was-
SNK was big in the West. It was just big in the West in the 90s,
Yeah.
Yeah,
basically.
So Terry, I told my brother didn't watch. He was like sick the day that like the Smash reveal stuff happened. So I told him later that day. He was like, "Oh, who got revealed for Smash?" I was like, "Terry," and he was like, "Who?" And then when I showed him a picture, he was like, "Oh, okay, I know who that is." And I was over a friend's house, and we were watching. I think it was like Screw Attack's Death Battle or something with I think it was between Deadpool and Pinkie Pie, and yeah, we were watching a bunch of them. And Terry showed up, I think, in that one, and like the people in the room are not particularly big gamers, and I was like, that's the guy that got like put in Smash. They're like, oh, okay, I know who that is. Like,
Yeah, and a lot of
recognizable
people that
enough.
watched anime in the West in like the 90s when like not everything was being brought over. Those Fatal Fury animes were brought over, so people remember him from that too, which is really funny.
Yeah, it was definitely like if you were penning through like gaming magazines or just going into gaming stores, like I feel like you saw him on the cover of things, whether or not you ever played Fatal Fury and whatnot. He's definitely known. But Reimu, I don't think people like if I showed people a picture of her, I think I'd get just cricket noises. Like nobody knows.
It's definitely for a
Exactly.
Japanese audience. It's 100% for, and I mean that's the big thing against her, because Sakurai's gone on record to even be like, if he knew that Mother 3 was going to be Japan only, he wasn't going to add Lucas to the game.
Right.
Like,
right.
the only reason
There
Lucas got
was
in is
also-
because he wasn't informed.
Yeah, there was that one leak a while ago about a character who was supposed to look. I think she was supposed to have traditional Japanese.
Kimono
Something
or
like that.
something.
Yeah, kimono or something like that. But so people thought it was Nakaruru, but it turned out to be Terry. I wonder maybe if Reimu was actually
His traditional Japanese clothes, Terry.
I don't know.
If
The American guy.
Yeah, if that leak was right, I was thinking the same thing. As soon as I heard about the SNK thing, I thought, oh, it's gonna be Nakaruru. That was
what I thought too.
I was.
There's no way I can see the Toho being the 5th slot.
Oh,
that.
it's not the
That-
slot. No,
that's-
it's not the 5th
I don't
slot.
know.
But
That's
maybe
too
as
much.
additional DLC.
Yeah, that's the biggest
Yeah.
probably hit against her is that if that leak was true or whatever, then that means she's the 5th. There's no way they would ever think that's what we're gonna end it on.
Yeah, they're going to end it on something that everyone knows worldwide. They would have ended it on Banjo if Reimu was
definitely.
was the 5th
Even
one.
Joker or Hero, they would have done last.
Yeah.
Somebody said Sora,
Exactly.
and I'm not actually a big Sora for Smash guy, but Sora would be like a great Fighter 5 because he's highly
Yeah.
requested everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
that's what you're looking
I'm
for,
doubtful
someone like that.
because I don't think we'll double dip Square in the Fighters Pass, but yeah, I mean that's
I know
the type of,
he's
that's the type of
Disney,
character.
but you still need to talk to Square about it for a lot of the different stuff.
Yeah.
I think Square, for instance, owns the music. It's weird. He's a
Yeah,
weird
Square rights are all over the place. That's the problem.
Just on the thought of like big end game characters here, I don't think mention it at all, but Crash Bandicoot, like I feel like would be gigantic. I don't know if that's big in Japan necessarily.
Yeah,
but
Crash
I
is
feel
big
like
in Japan. Crash is
but
big.
He is.
Japanese Crash is an infamous thing. How they
so-
redesign him over there.
Yeah, but I still think it would be a big. It's a big thing to end on, and we did get like Dragon Quest. Even Terry SNK is a little more Japanese than over here. So
Yeah, Crash would be a good number 5. I just
Yeah.
don't see it, but it could happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either. But it's like saying Sora could be a big bang to end things with. I feel like Crash has that kind of clout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right,
And
Spazzy.
I think like someone like. Oh, okay, my turn.
I was going to say, you're the last one. So, which series do you think are
Yeah.
likely for additional, not the Fighter Pass, additional DLC choices?
Okay, yeah. I don't know. We're talking so much about Toho and Raymond, so yeah, sure. I don't want people yelling at me, so I'll say that. I'll say that I do think that Xenoblade was brought up before. I almost feel like Rex and Pyra have missed their chance. They got the costumes, they got the song. I almost think that with the remake coming up, I really do think Fiora has a shot. Fiora is super popular with fans. She was in
Project Cross Zone. Project Cross Zone
Yeah,
2.
Project Cross Zone. That's what it
Oh,
is.
that's right.
As the Xenoblade rep, like she's almost as
Monolith
like,
lover.
slight, but not really spoilers for the first Xenoblade. Is that she's the other Monado. Shulk is one and she is one. Like they have the two Monados. So she's like almost like the opposite counterpoint character to him and like the other main character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's
And
a huge character. I could see her get in.
And we're getting the like Xenoblade remaster too, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
Exactly.
too old or anything at this point. Like it's still relevant.
Yeah, and I think like Monoliths of Love Cosmos, they always reference her, and Fiora is like the Nintendo owned version of Cosmos from
No,
them.
Cosmos.
Like
They could make Cosmos as an Echo. Not really, but
No.
kinda, like not that
No.
different. Just not that
Cosmos
high,
has like
different
massive
lasers.
laser
Yeah.
guns.
Yeah, it's kind of different. Yeah, Fiora has the what are they? The drill, the bits or stuff. The
Yeah,
that
that like
surround her,
floating drone
she
things
floats,
that fly around, yeah.
drone things. Yeah. Anyways, so I think she could be in. I think if they do first parties without anything else, and I brought this up earlier, the two that kind of stand out to me as people as characters with big fan bases that weren't in already are Bandana Waddle Dee and Dixie in some way.
Mm-hmm.
If they're doing first parties that are just trying to round things out. I definitely see a Gen 8 Pokemon. I don't know which one yet. We'll have to see how that goes.
I would love to get the final evolution grass starter just to
Yeah.
round things out with Greninja and Incineroar and get whatever Grookey's final evolution is. I haven't even seen it yet, but that would just feel right.
Yeah, if Grookey has a cool one, I think the rumor is it's some sort of drummer.
Yeah.
I would be down with that. Although based off of that one leak too, I think the spy sounding chameleon dude
that
for
would be-
Sobble sounds the coolest. But we don't need another water one. But just it sounds like James Bond, but a chameleon that has water attacks. Yeah, I'll take that.
So if Sakurai did have some sort of rhythm-based or music-based moveset for Rhythm Heaven, like, you know, Chorus Kids or Chorus Man, whatever, maybe whatever Grookey's final evolution could take some ideas from whatever that was, if it is a drummer. So that could be neat.
As long as it doesn't take them away, then I'll be fine with that.
And I think we will get a couple, just to my final thought for third parties, I do think we'll get a couple big female characters. We already brought up, but Raimu makes sense in that. I feel like I'm butchering that name.
Raimu. Yeah.
I will get this, guys. I will get Raimu. I think she does make sense in that context. I think Arl Nadja from Puyo Puyo makes sense in that context.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of putting her as a possibility for fighter number 5 here all of a sudden.
I'm thinking about it too, yeah.
Yes, join me.
I think Lara Croft might be like the most recognizable video game character not in, like, honestly, like, your mom knows who Lara Croft is because she's had 3 fairly successful Hollywood movies, and it's just like she's like an archetype almost. Like she's such an icon inside and outside of gaming that I think she has a good chance. I don't know if she has a good chance, but I think she definitely should be in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Does Sora have a movie? No. Checkmate.
I think the toughest thing.
Oh, it was a movie, Jill Valentine.
Yeah,
exactly. I think the toughest thing with Lara Croft is that she's square, obviously, and there's a lot of square reps people want. And I kind of look at it.
She's also Eidos, like the same way that Joker's Sega, but he's also Atlas. Like she's kind of
she's sort of her own thing. But I think the toughest thing is it's kind of how I looked at like Banjo and Steve. It's like Minecraft is huge, and I feel like Lara Croft is huge, but like, you know, people who want a square rep want like Sora. You know, like, so would the fans be happy with getting Lara Croft? She's bigger, but is she what the Smash fans want?
I think English fans would want. I mean,
I do also, just on the note of Minecraft, I do think Minecraft is possible in Smash. I never really thought Steve made a good character, but if they did do like additional stage DLC, a Minecraft stage, I'd be all for that. That'd be cool in my books.
Yeah. She's more like how Cloud got in. Like, you know, like she's just an icon.
Yes.
It's not necessarily a Nintendo icon, even though she has been on Nintendo software a lot, or hardware.
Oh, she is definitely a huge gaming icon. It's just, I feel like if she got in, so many people would be like, why did they go and get Lara Croft and not Sora? Like, I could see that happening.
That's how much DLC they're pumping out.
That's true. They pump out a lot, man.
And the final 2 female ones that I was thinking of are, I do think, when I think Resident Evil, I personally think of Jill first, and there's a Resident Evil 3 remake that's heavily rumored to be coming out.
Yeah.
So Jill, I think, could come in, and if it's not in a fighter pass format, you could still get Leon as an Echo. I think that would be rad, and I think that's possible. And for some reason, recently, I just keep thinking of 2B, because I feel like Nier was such a like cultural touchstone of a game for gamers. Like, it was such a big deal when it came out, and it feels kind of like Joker, like just one of those characters that people just want because they thought the game was cool. And I don't know, I keep going back to 2B for whatever reason as well.
I could see 2B at the Video Game Awards, oddly enough. Like you mentioned Joker, like that just feels fitting.
All right.
So that's my short list.
Those are your short list.
And I'll be regular.
100 characters we talked about before this.
Well,
yeah.
I think with that, I think we'll start wrapping this up because we're nearly hitting the 3-hour mark, which might make this the longest Good Morning Source Gaming we've ever done.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Source Gaming.
Hey, for me, it's good evening, Source Gaming. It's nearly 7 o'clock. So, All right, I want to thank everyone who's stuck with us for this and listened, and in particular, I want to thank you, PapaGenos, for joining us again at such short notice. Just kind of grabbed you and pulled you in.
Me, and I'm happy to do this again sometime.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have you on again. Yeah,
awesome.
Well, next time there's a big Smash announcement or something, potentially come on and we can update our lists and see who that fifth fighter was.
Yeah. For sure.
And I also want to thank Spazzy and Kody for joining me on this as well.
Anytime.
For taking up your mornings.
You're welcome.
And yeah, let us know in the comments if there are comments to streams. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it out loud, just spam the chat with who you think's going to be your the final fighter pass character. And we can, and then it's recorded in history. So when you're wrong, we can go back and look at it, and you can be embarrassed.
Or like the most random character ever, and we'll go back and we'll be like, "Man, this guy knew what was up."
This guy knew. Are you Sakurai?
Nintendo's partnership with Universal means Shrek is coming.
It was the most won the fighter ballot, so it's just like, all right.
You know, I know I said it had to be originate from a video game, but you know, Cars video game came out first, so Cars the game came out before Cars the movie, so therefore.
Get the cars run.
It's character. It's true. You know, from the many Dragon Ball video games. We can't get Goku.
And if you want to support us, please share this live stream with people and let them know that I goofed up the beginning, so there's like a minute of really weird silence, and but give it a like anyway and forgive me. Share the video, hit that notification bell for when we get other videos. We've got some all content Smash stuff coming up. I've got a Fatal Fury King of Fighters video coming up thanks to Terry now being announced. Gonna cover all of that and get people ready for him. And if you really, really want to support us, we also, of course, have a Patreon, which helps us keep everything up and running. It's fairly expensive to keep the website going with all the translations on there. And so if you could support us on that, we can keep that funding, and that'd be extra cool of all of you. There's a link to that in the description. But, of course, if you can't, don't feel pressured. Like, I know what it's like to not have any money and not be able to support things, so including yourself. So... don't worry about that. Just thank you for sticking with us for these 3 hours, and I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Actually, let me know as well in the chat whether you preferred it or on Twitter or anywhere, Discord, whatever, if you preferred Good Morning Source Gaming being on a Sunday as opposed to a Saturday, because we usually do it on a Saturday, and obviously it's a Sunday. But I'm wondering, I personally think Sunday's better, but let me know what you guys think, because obviously it's what works for all of you. So with that, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. And we're all going to be signing off. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.